Settle into the quietest position you can find and allow the day to loosen around you. There's nothing you need to solve, remember, or understand completely tonight. Let your breathing remain natural while your thoughts begin moving more slowly. Imagine that you are resting beside a calm ocean beneath a wide, dark sky. The waves arrive gently and slip back into the night without asking for attention. Far beyond the shore, the ocean stretches into distances no human eye can fully follow, and beneath its surface lies another world, quieter and deeper than the familiar one above. Tonight, we will drift gradually downward through that hidden world. We will pass through soft blue water, dim twilight, and the peaceful darkness below. There is no hurry to reach the bottom. You can simply let each image appear, remain for a moment, and quietly fade. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. Near the top of the ocean, sunlight enters the water in long, moving ribbons. These bright layers support most familiar marine life, warmed by the sun above, but sunlight weakens quickly as it travels downward. Water absorbs different colors at different depths, changing the appearance of everything below. Red light disappears first, followed gradually by orange, yellow, green, and finally blue. This is why deep water often appears blue. Even on a clear and bright day, at roughly 200 meters, the ocean begins entering a dim region called the twilight zone. Here, daylight still exists, but it is faint and scattered. The water feels like a long evening that never becomes morning. Many animals living here have large, sensitive eyes designed to gather the smallest traces of light. Others create their own light through a process called bioluminescence. This living light is produced by chemical reactions inside specialized cells or organs. It may glow blue, green, or occasionally in softer shades of red. Blue light travels especially well through seawater, so it is the most common deep-sea color. In the darkness, a tiny point of blue can be visible from surprisingly far away. Some drifting creatures glow around their edges like faint stars behind thin clouds. Others release small sparks that fade almost as soon as they appear. The deep ocean can seem dark, yet it is not completely without light. Instead, it contains scattered signals, gentle flashes, and quiet constellations made by living bodies. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. As we continue downward, the pressure of the water increases steadily. Pressure grows because every deeper layer carries the weight of all the water above it. At 1,000 meters, the pressure is roughly 100 times greater than at the surface. Yet many deep-sea animals live comfortably under conditions that would challenge surface-dwelling creatures. Their bodies are shaped by the environment around them. Some have soft tissues with very little empty space inside, without large air-filled cavities. Their bodies are less affected by the surrounding pressure. Their cells also contain chemical adaptations that help delicate proteins keep their natural shapes. Life in the deep ocean does not fight the pressure every moment. It has simply developed within it, generation after generation. Below about 1,000 meters, sunlight can no longer reach the water. This region is sometimes called the midnight zone. The name sounds dramatic, but the water here can feel calm and remarkably still. Temperatures often remain only a few degrees above freezing. Seasonal weather at the surface has little effect so far below. Storms may cross the ocean high above, while the deep water remains quiet and slow. Currents still move through these depths, but many travel gently across enormous distances. Some deep currents take centuries to complete their journeys around the planet. A drop of water descending into the deep ocean may remain there for generations of human history. The deep sea holds time differently from the rest of the surface. Movements are slower, changes are gradual, and ancient water passes silently between continents. Much of the deep ocean consists of broad regions called abyssal plains. These plains are among the flattest landscapes found anywhere on Earth. They are covered by fine sediments that settle slowly from the water above. Tiny mineral particles, shells, dust, and fragments of organic matter drift downward over many years. This soft rain from above is sometimes called marine snow. Marine snow does not resemble frozen snowflakes falling through winter air. It is a slow shower of small particles descending continuously through the ocean. For deep sea life, these particles carry energy from sunlit waters into the darkness below. A single piece may drift for weeks before reaching the seafloor. Some are eaten during their descent, while others settle into the ancient sediment. Layer by layer, the seafloor records the passage of time. Within those layers are traces of changing climates, distant volcanic eruptions, and former ocean conditions. The quiet mud beneath the deep sea can preserve stories millions of years old. Scientists study narrow cores of this sediment to understand how Earth changed in the distant past. But tonight, you do not need to examine those stories closely. You may simply imagine the pale sediment resting beneath miles of dark water. Across the abyssal plains, small animals leave faint trails in the soft surface. Sea cucumbers move slowly, gathering tiny particles from the sediment. Brittle stars rest on long, delicate arms, sensing movement in the water around them. Sponges grow in forms that may resemble cups, branches, or fragile glass sculptures. Some deep-sea sponges build internal skeletons from silica, the same material found in glass. Their structures can be intricate, even though they grow where sunlight never arrives. In complete darkness, beauty still develops without needing to be seen. The deep ocean floor is not perfectly flat everywhere. Long mountain ranges rise beneath the sea, hidden from ordinary view. The largest connected mountain system on Earth is actually found beneath the oceans. Known as the mid-ocean ridge, it winds around the planet for tens of thousands of kilometers. This underwater chain marks places where sections of Earth's crust slowly move apart. Molten material rises from below, cools, and becomes new oceanic crust. The process is slow, steady, and usually far removed from human awareness. Along parts of these ridges, seawater enters cracks in the seafloor. It travels downward, becoming heated by warm rock beneath the crust. The water then rises again, carrying dissolved minerals from deep underground. When this hot water meets the cold ocean, the minerals begin forming solid particles. Over time, tall chimney-like structures can grow around these openings. These places are called hydrothermal vents. Some vent fluids emerge at temperatures hot enough to melt certain metals. Yet the enormous pressure prevents the water from boiling in the usual way. Around the vents, entire communities live without depending directly on sunlight. Instead, microscopic organisms use chemical energy from substances released by the seafloor. This process is called chemosynthesis. It provides the foundation for ecosystems in one of Earth's darkest environments. Tube worms, small crustaceans, and specialized shellfish may gather near the warm vent water. They remain within narrow zones where temperature and chemistry suit their bodies. Only a short distance away, the surrounding deep sea becomes cold again. The vents themselves do not last forever. A vent field may remain active for years, decades, or longer, then gradually become quiet. New vents may open elsewhere along the ridge. Life disperses through the darkness, finding new places where warm mineral water rises. These communities reveal that life can thrive using energy sources very different from sunlight. They have also changed how scientists imagine possible life on distant ocean worlds. Some moons in the outer solar system may hide liquid oceans beneath thick shells of ice. If warm water rises from rocky interiors there, similar chemical environments might exist far from Earth. For now, those distant oceans remain unseen. But our own deep sea offers a quiet example of what such hidden worlds might be like. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. You can listen closely or allow the words to become part of the darkness. Far from the mid-ocean ridges, isolated mountains rise from the deep sea floor. These underwater mountains are known as seamounts. Many began as volcanoes, built slowly by repeated flows of lava. Some remain entirely beneath the surface. Others eventually grew high enough to become islands. Ocean currents bend and rise around seamounts, carrying nutrients into the surrounding water. Because of this movement, seamounts can support rich communities of marine life. Cold water corals may grow along their slopes in branching forests. Unlike tropical corals, they do not depend on sunlight. Some live hundreds or thousands of meters below the surface. They grow extremely slowly, and certain colonies may survive for centuries. Their branches create shelter for smaller animals moving through the deep water. A single coral structure may stand quietly while generations pass above the ocean. Beyond the seamounts lie deep valleys called trenches. Ocean trenches form where one section of Earth's crust bends beneath another. They are the deepest places in the world's oceans. The Mariana Trench reaches deeper below sea level than Mount Everest rises above it. At its deepest known point, the water extends nearly 11 kilometers downward. Even there, the seafloor is not empty. Small organisms live within the sediment, adapted to immense pressure and cold. Specialized amphipods, resembling tiny pale crustaceans, move through some trench environments. Microbes survive in the mud, using whatever energy reaches them. The deepest ocean is not a lifeless boundary. It is another habitat, quiet and distant, shaped by conditions unlike those near the surface. Some trenches collect organic material that slides down their steep walls. This can create small areas of concentrated nourishment on the deep floor. The landscape may look still, but gravity slowly carries particles into its lowest places. Earth's deepest valleys are part of a planet that remains active beneath the water. Tectonic plates shift only a few centimeters each year. Yet over millions of years, these small movements reshape entire ocean basins. Continents move, ridges open, trenches deepen, and seamounts travel across the seafloor. The ocean hides these changes beneath its calm surface. A wave arriving on a beach may seem separate from the deep earth below, but the shore, the basin, and the unseen crust are all parts of the same moving planet. If your thoughts have wandered, there is no need to bring them back sharply. Let them float as gently as marine snow through the dark water. For most of human history, the deep ocean could not be visited directly. Sailors measured depth by lowering weighted lines from ships. These measurements revealed that the ocean floor was far deeper and more varied than expected. Later, sound waves allowed ships to map underwater landscapes more efficiently. Modern sonar sends sound downward and measures the returning echoes. From those echoes, scientists can estimate the shape and depth of the seafloor. Satellites can even detect subtle changes in sea surface height caused by mountains below. A large seamount has slightly stronger gravity than the surrounding seafloor. That gravity pulls a little extra water above it, creating a small rise on the surface. In this way, hidden mountains can leave faint signatures visible from space. Even so, much of the deep ocean has not been mapped in fine detail. there are still valleys, slopes, and geological formations awaiting closer observation. Each expedition adds only small pieces to an enormous picture. Remotely operated vehicles descend with cameras, lights, and instruments. Their lamps reveal only a narrow area within the surrounding darkness. Beyond that circle of light, the deep sea continues in every direction. The darkness is not empty or threatening. It is simply vast, holding more space than any single journey can explore. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. As we pause here in the midnight water, imagine the surface far above. Moonlight may be resting on the waves, though none of it reaches this depth. Clouds may pass across the sky, unseen by the animals below. The deep ocean continues its slow movements without noticing the night or morning. Cold currents carry oxygen through hidden passages. Minerals rise from the seafloor, and marine snow settles to the water. Tiny lights appear, drift for a moment, and fade again. For now, there is nowhere else you need to go. You can rest within this quiet depth, while the ocean carries the story onward. In the darkness beyond the last circle of light, the deep ocean continues quietly in every direction. There are no roads here, no familiar landmarks, and no horizon beneath the water. Distance is felt through pressure, temperature, currents, and the faint movement of drifting life. Many deep-sea animals travel vertically rather than across the ocean. Each evening, vast numbers rise towards shallower waters to find food. Before sunrise, they descend again into darker and safer depths. This daily movement is called diel vertical migration. It is one of the largest animal migrations on Earth. Yet most of it happens silently, hidden beneath the surface every night. Small fish, squid, and drifting crustaceans participate in this slow upward journey. Together, they carry carbon from surface waters into the deeper ocean. They feed near the top, then transport some of that energy downward. And this way, living bodies help connect the bright ocean with the dark one. The movement also helps regulate Earth's carbon cycle. The deep sea stores enormous amounts of carbon for long periods. Some carbon reaches the depths through sinking particles. Some travels downward inside moving animals. Some dissolves into cold water and follows currents through the world's ocean basins. The ocean absorbs a significant portion of the carbon dioxide added to the atmosphere. It also stores heat, moving it slowly through deep currents. Without the ocean, Earth's climate would change far more quickly. The deep sea acts like a vast, quiet reservoir beneath the weather. It does not stop climate change, but it slows and redistributes many effects. Heat entering the ocean can remain hidden below the surface for years or decades. Deep currents eventually carry that heat into new regions. These currents are driven partly by differences in temperature and salt. Cold, salty water is dense, so it can sink toward the seafloor. In certain polar regions, surface water becomes heavy enough to descend. It then begins a slow journey to the global ocean. This circulation is sometimes described as a great ocean conveyor. The name suggests a machine, but the movement is not perfectly simple or uniform. It is a connected system of currents, mixing, sinking, rising, and returning. Some deep water may take hundreds of years to reach the surface again. While it travels, it carries oxygen, nutrients, carbon, and traces of distant places. Water formed near Antarctica may eventually move through the Atlantic, Indian, or Pacific Ocean. The deep sea is divided by continents, yet its currents connect the planet. There's no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. In the midnight zone, vision works differently from vision near the surface. There is almost no sunlight, so eyes must use every available photon. Some animals have eyes shaped like long tubes. These eyes point upward, searching for faint silhouettes against the dim water above. Other animals have nearly transparent bodies that allow light to pass through. Transparency can make a small creature difficult to notice in open water. Some deep-sea animals are red, even though red seems like a bright surface color. At great depth, red light is absent. Without red light, a red body can appear dark or nearly black. Color in the deep ocean depends not only on the animal, but on the available light. A creature that looks vivid beneath a research lamp may seem invisible in its natural surroundings. Bioluminescence also creates its own private language. Some animals use light to recognize members of the same species. Others use it to illuminate a small area ahead. Certain squid can release glowing clouds into the water. The light may briefly confuse nearby animals while the squid drifts away. Some species carry bioluminescent bacteria inside specialized organs. The bacteria receive shelter and nutrients. In return, they produce a steady glow. This partnership has developed over long periods of evolution. Living light can also help an animal disappear. Some animals have rows of glowing organs along their undersides. These lights match the faint brightness coming from above. By balancing the light beneath their bodies, they soften their silhouettes. This technique is known as counter-illumination. It is a quiet form of camouflage made from light rather than darkness. The animal does not become truly invisible. It simply blends more gently into the dim world around it. Many deep-sea fish have dark skin that absorbs almost all incoming light. Their surfaces reflect so little that they can be difficult to photograph. Special structures in the skin trap light between tiny pigment particles. Even under bright research lamps, these animals may appear as soft black shapes. In their natural habitat, this darkness provides calm concealment. Not every deep-sea creature swims constantly. Some drift with the current, saving energy in a place where food may be scarce. Soft-bodied animals often use little energy to remain suspended. Their tissues may contain large amounts of water. This makes their density close to that of the surrounding sea. Instead of fighting gravity, they float quietly within it. The deep ocean rewards patience and efficiency. Food may arrive irregularly. So many animals have slow metabolisms. Some can wait long periods between meals. Others grow gradually and live for many years. Cold temperatures slow many biological processes. In certain species, growth and reproduction happen at a pace very different from surface life. A coral colony may add only a small amount each year. A deep-sea fish may take decades to reach maturity. Time passes slowly in cold water. This makes deep ecosystems especially sensitive to disturbance. Damage that occurs quickly may require centuries to recover. But tonight, we can simply imagine these communities remaining undisturbed. Cold water corals extend their branches into the current. Sponges filter tiny particles from passing water. Brittle stars rest across the sediment like delicate patterns. The darkness surrounds them without interruption. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. Far below passing ships, unusual lakes can form on the seafloor. These are not lakes of fresh water. They are pools of extremely salty water, called brine pools. Because the brine is denser than ordinary seawater, it gathers in depressions. The boundary between the brine and surrounding water can look like a shimmering surface. From a distance, it may resemble a lake beneath the ocean. Some brine pools form where ancient salt deposits dissolve into seawater. Others are connected to geological processes beneath the seabed. The chemistry inside can be difficult for many animals. Yet specialized microbes may live near their edges. Mussels and tube worms sometimes gather where chemical energy becomes available. These hidden pools create landscapes that seem almost dreamlike. A shoreline can exist beneath kilometers of water. Gentle ripples may move across a surface that is itself underwater. Nearby, mineral deposits form pale terraces and dark mounds. The deep sea contains environments unlike those of any familiar coast. There are also cold seeps where methane-rich or mineral-rich fluids escape from the sea floor. Unlike hydrothermal vents, cold seeps are not necessarily hot. They can remain active for very long periods. Microbes use chemicals from the seep as an energy source. These microbes support larger communities of clams, mussels, and tube worms. Some tube worms have no mouth or digestive system as adults. They depend on bacteria living inside their bodies. The bacteria transform chemical compounds into usable energy. In return, the worms provide access to the necessary substances. This partnership allows life to flourish where sunlight has never reached. Cold seeps may also create carbonate structures. These formations grow slowly as chemical reactions occur within the sediment. Over time, they can become reefs and hard surfaces for other organisms. The seafloor may appear empty from above, but beneath the sediment, water, and gases move through hidden pathways. Life follows these pathways, forming communities wherever energy becomes available. The deep ocean is not one single environment. It contains plains, mountains, trenches, vents, seeps, canyons, and submerged cliffs. Each landscape creates different conditions. A few degrees of temperature can change which animals live nearby. A small rise in the terrain can redirect a current. A fall of organic material can support life for years. The deep sea is shaped by rare events as well as slow processes. One of the most remarkable events begins when a whale dies at the surface. Its body may eventually sink through the water. When it reaches the seafloor, it becomes known as a whale fall. A whale fall delivers a large amount of organic material to an otherwise food-limited environment. It can support a changing community for many decades. The first stage begins as mobile animals gather around the remains. They use the soft tissues, gradually reducing the body to bones. Later, smaller organisms enrich the surrounding sediment. Finally, microbes and specialized animals make use of fats stored within the bones. Certain bacteria produce chemicals that support communities similar to those near seeps. Bone-eating worms may settle on the skeleton. These worms are sometimes called ossidacs. They do not have ordinary mouths. Instead, root-like tissues enter the bone. Bacteria living with the worms help release nutrients. The process is slow and quiet. Over time, the whale's body becomes part of the deep sea ecosystem. Its energy spreads through the sediment and surrounding water. Eventually, the bones themselves begin to disappear. What once moved through sunlit oceans becomes a small island of life in darkness. A whale fall may connect distant communities across the seafloor. Before hydrothermal vents and seeps were discovered, scientists wondered how specialized animals reached isolated habitats. Whale falls may serve as temporary stepping stones between them. Each one can remain for years, allowing species to spread through the deep ocean. The idea is still being studied, but it shows how one event can influence life across great distances. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Smaller falls also matter. A sunken piece of wood can create its own deep sea community. Wood carried from forests may drift across the ocean before sinking. At the seafloor, specialized animals begin breaking it down. Certain clams burrow into the wood and digest its material with help from bacteria. Other organisms use the shelter and chemicals created during decomposition. A fallen tree from land can continue supporting life far beneath the sea. This forms another connection between forests, rivers, coastlines, and the deep ocean. Even coconuts, leaves, and plant fragments can reach surprising depths. The deep sea receives quiet messages from the continents above. Dust travels across the atmosphere and settles on the water. Rivers carry minerals from mountains into the ocean. Volcanic ash falls through the surface after distant eruptions. Tiny fragments of human-made materials also reach the deep sea floor. Plastic fibers and particles have been found in remote ocean trenches. Pollutants can travel through currents and food webs into places far from their sources. The deep ocean may seem isolated, but it is connected to human activity. Changes at the surface can eventually appear in the deepest water. This is one reason scientists study deep-sea sediments and animals carefully. They provide records of the wider planet. Some deep-sea organisms produce shells from calcium carbonate. After death, these shells may sink and become part of the sediment. In certain regions, pressure and chemistry cause the shells to dissolve before reaching the bottom. The depth where dissolution becomes especially strong is called the carbonate compensation depth. Above it, pale shell-rich sediments may accumulate. Below it, the sea floor may be covered by darker clay. This creates broad changes in color and composition across the ocean floor. Even the chemistry of seawater helps paint the hidden landscape. Tiny single-celled organisms also build beautiful mineral structures. Radiolarians make delicate skeletons from silica. Their shapes may resemble spheres, stars, or intricate geometric cages. When they die, their remains drift downward. In some places, these microscopic skeletons gather into thick deposits. The grandest landscapes can be built from the smallest bodies. Layer after layer, they become part of the geological record. Deep-sea mud may appear simple, yet it contains countless fragments of former life. Within a handful of sediment are minerals, shells, microbes, and traces of distant climates. Some microbes live far below the seafloor itself. They occupy pores between sediment grains. The energy available there may be extremely limited. Their metabolism can be so slow that individual cells divide only rarely. Scientists have found living microbes beneath sediments millions of years old. These communities exist in a world with almost no light and little fresh energy. They remind us that life can persist very slowly. It does not always need rapid growth or constant movement. Sometimes it continues through small chemical exchanges across immense periods of time. The ocean floor is not the final boundary of the living world. Life extends downward into the crust beneath it. Seawater moves through cracks in volcanic rock. Microbes inhabit some of these dark pathways. The exact depth of this hidden biosphere is still being explored. It may contain a significant portion of Earth's microbial life. Much of it lives beyond direct observation. There are no forests or open skies there. Only mineral surfaces, water-filled spaces, heat, pressure, and slow chemistry. Yet even these conditions can support living systems. The deep ocean continues to expand our idea of where life belongs. It teaches that life is not limited to warm sunlight. It can gather around chemicals, endure pressure, and wait through long darkness. It can glow, drift, filter, burrow, and grow almost invisibly, and much of it remains unnamed. Scientists estimate that many deep-sea species have not yet been formally described. A research dive may observe animals unlike anything recorded before. Sometimes only a brief video or single specimen is available. It can take years to understand whether the animal represents a new species. The unknown deep ocean is not filled with monsters. It is filled with small differences, quiet adaptations, and unfamiliar forms. A translucent body may carry a faint blue light. A delicate arm may stretch through the current. A tiny shell may have a pattern no one has studied closely. Mystery here does not need to be frightening. It can simply mean that the world is larger than our current knowledge. You do not need to imagine every creature clearly. Let them remain as soft shapes within the water. Some drift beyond the reach of the research lights. Others rest beneath stones or within the sediment. All continue their lives without needing to be known by us. Above them, the ocean holds its enormous weight. Far above that, waves move beneath the night sky, and here in the quiet middle, the water remains cold, dark, and calm. Your breathing can stay gentle. Your thoughts can become less distinct. The story will continue, even if you are no longer following every word. Beyond the quiet plains and distant ridges, the deep ocean keeps many of its movements hidden. Some of those movements begin near the surface, where winds gently push the upper layers of water. Others begin near the poles, where cold seawater becomes dense enough to sink. As these waters descend, they carry oxygen into the deep ocean. That oxygen supports animals and microbes living far from sunlight. Without this slow renewal, many deep habitats will become very different places. The amount of oxygen is not the same at every depth. In some regions, layers called oxygen minimum zones contain much less oxygen than surrounding waters. These zones often form where sinking organic matter is broken down by microbes. The process uses oxygen as particles drift through the water. Some animals avoid these layers. Others have evolved bodies that function with very little oxygen. Certain fish have larger gills or blood that binds oxygen especially efficiently. Small crustaceans may reduce their activity and drift slowly through the dim water. Life adjusts to the chemistry of each layer. The ocean is not simply divided into light and darkness. It is also divided by temperature, pressure, salt, oxygen, and moving currents. Each invisible boundary creates a different kind of home. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. There is no need to hold on to every detail. As the deep currents travel, they pass around enormous underwater landscapes. Some seamounts rise thousands of meters from the abyssal floor. Their peaks may still remain far beneath the surface. Currents flowing toward these mountains are pushed upward along the slopes. This movement can carry nutrients into higher water. It may also create swirling eddies behind the mountain. Tiny animals gather where the water becomes richer. Larger animals may visit these places during long journeys. A seamount can become a quiet meeting point in an otherwise open ocean. Some seamounts are flat on top. These flattened underwater mountains are called goyots. Many were once volcanic islands near the surface. Waves gradually wore their tops smooth. Over millions of years, the oceanic crust beneath them cooled and sank. The former islands descended into deeper water. Now their level summits remain as records of vanished coastlines. A mountain that once held sunlight and breaking waves can rest quietly in darkness. Corals may grow along its edges. Sponges may attach to old volcanic rock. Sediment may settle over the flat summit like a pale blanket. The deep sea preserves landscapes from earlier versions of Earth. Other underwater mountains are still volcanically active. Most volcanic activity on Earth occurs beneath the ocean. Along mid-ocean ridges, lava emerges as tectonic plates slowly separate. When hot lava touches cold seawater, its surface cools almost immediately. Rounded forms known as pillow lavas can develop. Each rounded shape pushes outward before hardening. Over time, countless pillows build new sections of seafloor. This process has continued for millions of years. The oceanic crust beneath the deep sea is constantly being created and recycled. Near some submarine volcanoes, warm water carries minerals into the ocean. Clouds of particles can rise above the seafloor. Microbes may quickly colonize newly formed rock. Gradually, larger communities begin appearing. The first life may be microscopic and nearly invisible, yet it prepares the surface for other organisms. Even fresh volcanic stone can become part of a living landscape. Some submarine eruptions build new islands. Others collapse, leaving wide depressions called calderas. These submerged basins can hold hydrothermal vents, mineral deposits, and unusual communities. The shape of the seafloor changes slowly, but it never becomes completely still. Earth's interior continues working beneath the water. Heat rises, rock melts, crust moves, and above it all, the ocean softens the sound and carries the energy away. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. The deep sea also contains canyons that begin near continental coastlines. Submarine canyons may extend from shallow shelves into much deeper water. Some are larger than famous canyons found on land. They carry sediment from the continents toward the abyss. At times, dense mixtures of water and sediment rush down their slopes. These flows are called turbidity currents. They can travel for great distances along the seafloor. Most of the time, the canyons remain quiet. Fine particles settle along their walls. Cold water corals and sponges may grow on rocky surfaces. Fish move through the deeper channels, but occasionally, a large flow reshapes the canyon floor. Layers of sand and mud spread outward at the base. Over geological time, these layers can build enormous underwater fans. Some stretch across areas larger than entire countries. The continents are slowly carried into the deep sea grain by grain. Mountain dust becomes river sediment. River sediment becomes ocean mud. Ocean mud becomes rock. The cycle continues with almost no need for attention. Submarine landslides can also move huge amounts of material. They may occur after earthquakes or as unstable sediment collapses. These events can change sections of the seafloor quickly. Yet afterward, the water grows calm again. Sediment begins settling. Animals return. The deep ocean resumes its slower rhythms. Even sudden events become part of long geological stories. Earth records them in layers. Scientists read these layers using sound waves, sediment cores, and underwater cameras. Each method reveals only part of what happened. The rest remains folded into the seafloor. Deep ocean exploration often depends on sound because light travels only a limited distance underwater. Sound can move far through the sea. Whales use it to communicate across large spaces. Ships use it to measure depth. Research instruments use it to detect currents, animals, and geological structures. In some parts of the ocean, sound becomes trapped within a special layer. This region is known as the deep sound channel. There, sound waves can travel thousands of kilometers with relatively little loss. Temperature and pressure bend the sound back toward the center of the channel. The ocean becomes a vast natural guide for distant sounds. A low call made in one part of the basin may travel far beyond the horizon. The deep sea is dark, but it is not silent. It contains whale songs, shifting ice, distant storms, and faint geological movements. Many sounds are too low or too distant for humans to hear directly. Hydrophones allow scientists to listen. Placed beneath the surface, these instruments record the acoustic life of the ocean. Some recordings reveal long periods of calm. Others contain repeating patterns made by animals. There are clicks, pulses, low moans, and gentle choruses. Certain fish produce sound using muscles or internal structures. Crustaceans create small snaps. Icebergs scrape the seafloor in polar waters. Earthquakes send vibrations across entire ocean basins. Sound carries stories through the darkness. You do not need to imagine them loudly. Let them remain distant and soft. A low vibration somewhere beyond the darkness. A whale calling across cold water. A current moving around an unseen ridge. Everything can stay far away and peaceful. Many whales spend part of their lives above deep water. Sperm whales are especially known for making long dives. They descend in search of squid and other deep-sea animals. During these dives, their bodies make remarkable adjustments. Their heart rate slow. Blood flow becomes concentrated around essential organs. Their lungs compress safely as pressure increases. They can remain underwater for well over an hour. Some dives reach depth greater than 1,000 meters. The whale moves through total darkness. Using sound, it produces powerful clicks and listens to returning echoes. These echoes provide information about distance and shape. The process is called echolocation. To the whale, darkness may not feel empty. It may be filled with acoustic surfaces and moving forms. Each click briefly measures the surrounding water. Then the whale continues through the deep. Giant squid also inhabit deep and dim parts of the ocean. For centuries, humans knew them mostly from damaged specimens found at the surface. Living giant squid were rarely observed. Their enormous eyes are among the largest eyes known in the animal kingdom. Large eyes can gather faint light in dark water. They may also help detect distant movement. Despite their dramatic name, giant squid are not sea monsters. They are elusive animals adapted to a difficult environment. They spend most of their lives far from human observation. Their bodies are soft and streamlined. Long arms extend gently through the water. Their movements remain largely unknown. Only a small number have been filmed alive in their natural habitat. This rarity shows how difficult deep ocean study can be. An animal may be large and widespread, yet remain almost invisible to science. Colossal squid are another deep living species. They are different from giant squid and are found mainly in southern waters. Their bodies are heavier and broader. They live beneath cold seas around Antarctica. Much about their life cycle remains uncertain. Scientists often learn from rare specimens or from the stomach contents of whales. The deep ocean does not easily reveal complete stories. Knowledge arrives in fragments. A drifting arm. A mark on a whale. A brief camera recording. A trace of DNA in seawater. From these small clues, scientists build cautious ideas. Environmental DNA has become a valuable way to study hidden life. Animals release tiny pieces of genetic material into the water. These may come from skin cells, mucus, waste, or other biological traces. Researchers collect seawater and analyze the DNA within it. The results can reveal which species have recently been nearby. No animal needs to be captured or even seen. The water itself carries a faint record of passing life. A bottle of deep seawater may contain genetic traces from fish, squid, jelly-like animals, and microbes. Some traces belong to known species. Others are difficult to identify. They may come from organisms missing from current genetic databases. In this way, the ocean can hint at life that science has not yet described. The unknown becomes present through tiny, invisible fragments. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Deep-sea jelly animals come in many delicate forms. Some have transparent bells that pulse slowly through the water. Others resemble ribbons, lanterns, or drifting glass. Many are not true jellyfish. Although they may look similar, siphonophores are especially unusual. A siphonophore may appear to be one long animal. In fact, it is a colony of specialized individuals joined together. Different parts perform different tasks. Some capture food, some provide movement. Others handle reproduction or digestion. The colony behaves like a single living body. Certain deep-sea siphonophores can grow extraordinarily long. They may extend through the water like fine, luminous threads. Their bodies are fragile and difficult to collect. Research vehicles often provide the best way to observe them undisturbed. Underwater cameras reveal slow movements that nets may destroy. Modern exploration has shown that soft-bodied animals are far more common than once believed. Earlier studies often relied on trawling nets. Delicate organisms could be damaged before reaching the surface. As cameras improved, scientists began seeing a different deep sea. It was filled with transparent life, long colonies, and drifting structures. Some animals were nearly impossible to preserve. They existed most clearly in video. The camera light illuminated them for a few minutes. Then they disappeared again into the surrounding darkness. Remotely operated vehicles can hover above the seafloor. Pilots control them from ships at the surface. Long cables carry power, data, and video. Robotic arms collect samples carefully. Small containers preserve water or sediment. Temperature probes measure warm flows. High-definition cameras record color and movement. Inside the control room, scientists watch the deep sea appear on screens. The ship may be moving beneath stars and waves. Far below, the vehicle explores a canyon, vent field, or coral garden. The researchers see only what the lights reveal. A pale sponge enters the frame. Fish crosses slowly. A cloud of sediment rises, then settles. The rest of the ocean remains dark. Human-occupied submersibles allow a few people to descend directly. Their pressure-resistant cabins are often small. Thick windows provide narrow views into the water. As the submersible sinks, daylight gradually fades. Blue becomes darker. Then the windows reflect mostly the cabin interior. When the external lights turn on, particles appear in the beams. They drift past like slow snow. The submersible continues downward through water that may be thousands of meters deep. At the bottom, the landscape appears only a few meters at a time. A deep-sea dive can last many hours. Much of that time is spent descending and returning. A seafloor visit may feel brief compared with the journey. Every observation is carefully recorded. A single rock or animal can lead to years of study. The deepest crude dives require vessels built to withstand immense pressure. At the bottom of the Mariana Trench, pressure exceeds 1,000 times normal atmospheric pressure. Every part of the vehicle must be designed with great care. The passenger chamber is often shaped like a sphere. A sphere distributes pressure more evenly than most other shapes. Outside equipment may be surrounded by oil or pressure-tolerant materials. The descent takes place slowly. Water grows colder. The surface becomes unimaginably distant. Yet inside the vessel, the occupants remain within a small protected space. At the deepest point, they may observe soft sediment, small animals, and scattered rocks. The landscape is usually quieter than dramatic illustrations suggest. There are no towering forests or constant eruptions. There is mud, darkness, pressure, and gentle movement. Sometimes, a small amphipod crosses the field of view. Sometimes nothing moves at all. The deepest places on Earth can appear simple. Their wonder comes from where they are. Nearly 11 kilometers of water rest above them. Very few humans have visited. The light from a submersible exists there only briefly. Then the vehicle rises and darkness returns. The trench continues without witnesses. Deep ocean trenches can also trap and transport carbon. Organic particles slide down steep slopes. Sediments gather in the lowest areas. Microbes slowly transform the material. Trenches cover only a small part of the seafloor, yet they may play an important role in Earth's chemical cycles. Their narrow valleys concentrate processes that are spread more widely elsewhere. Each trench has its own shape, currents, and sediment history. Some are near active earthquake zones. Others lie beside island arcs and volcanic chains. The water above may seem calm, even while the crust below is moving. Earthquakes beneath the ocean can create tsunamis when the seafloor shifts suddenly. In deep water, a tsunami may have a low height and a very long wavelength. Ships far offshore may barely notice it. Near the coast, the wave can grow as the water becomes shallow. This is one example of how energy behaves differently across the ocean. But deep beneath ordinary waves, the trenches return quickly to stillness. Fine sediment settles again. Currents resume their slow pathways. The ocean absorbs movement into its enormous volume. Some of the oldest water in the ocean is found in the deep Pacific. It may have been away from the surface for many centuries. During that time, microbes use some of its oxygen. Carbon accumulates, nutrients increase. Eventually, winds and currents help bring the water upward. This process is called upwelling. Deep water returns towards sunlight, carrying nutrients from below. Those nutrients support microscopic plants near the surface. The plants become food for small animals. Energy moves through the food web. Articles sink again. The ocean repeats the cycle. The deep sea is not separate from the surface. It is part of one continuous system. What sinks may rise again in another form. What cools near the poles may travel beneath the tropics. What begins as sunlight may eventually become marine snow. The ocean transforms energy through countless quiet steps. As you rest, you can imagine those steps continuing without effort. Cold water moving beneath warm water, particles descending. Nutrients rising, currents passing around continents. The planet breathing through its ocean. The ocean also helps move heat from the equator toward the poles. Warm currents carry tropical energy into cooler regions. Cold currents return through deeper pathways. This movement influences rainfall, storms, and regional climates. Coastal places often have milder temperatures because seawater changes temperature slowly. The ocean warms gradually and cools gradually. It holds heat longer than land. The deep layers store much of the excess heat added to Earth's climate system. This storage delays some warming at the surface, but the stored heat does not disappear. It continues affecting currents, ice, sea level, and marine ecosystems. The ocean remembers changes for a long time. Its size gives it stability, but also a long memory. A warm year at the surface may become part of a deep water pattern lasting decades. A chemical release near one coast may travel far through currents. The deep sea connects times as well as places. It carries traces of the past into the future. Still, there is no need to solve these immense systems tonight. You can let them remain broad and distant. Imagine the ocean as a slow-moving blue world around the planet. Its deepest layers turn quietly beneath continents. Mountain chains cross its floor. Trenches curve along plate boundaries. Cold currents follow invisible pathways. Small lights appear in the darkness. Nothing needs to hurry. The ocean has been moving this way far longer than any human life. It will continue while you rest. Your thoughts may now feel softer around the edges. Words may begin to pass without needing meaning. You can follow the story or let it fade into a distant current. Far below the surface, the water remains calm. A fragile colony drifts through darkness. A whale calls across the basin. A submarine ridge releases warmth from the earth below. And the deep ocean carries everything onward, slowly and quietly. As the currents continue their long journeys, they pass through regions almost untouched by sunlight or weather. Here, the water may have traveled for centuries before arriving. It carries a quiet history of colder seas, distant storms, and vanished seasons. Some deep currents begin when sea ice forms near the poles. As seawater freezes, much of its salt remains in the liquid water below. That remaining water becomes colder, saltier, and denser. It sinks beneath the lighter layers and begins moving across the ocean floor. This process helps form some of the deepest water masses on Earth. The water does not move quickly. Its journey may continue through entire human lifetimes. Along the way, it gathers carbon, nutrients, and traces of the seafloor. It may pass beneath warm tropical oceans while remaining only a few degrees above freezing. The surface world can change many times before that water rises again. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. The deep ocean contains broad layers that mix only slowly. Differences in temperature and salt can keep one layer resting above another. These invisible boundaries are called density gradients. They can separate water masses from different parts of the planet. One layer may have formed near Antarctica. Another may have entered from the North Atlantic. Where they meet, they do not immediately become one. Instead, they slide past each other and mix gradually. Scientists can identify these waters by measuring temperature, salt, oxygen, and chemical traces. In this way, water itself reveals where it has been. Tiny differences tell stories of distant origins. A sample collected far beneath the Pacific may carry the signature of a polar winter centuries earlier. The ocean preserves geography inside its chemistry. Even without a visible border, one region of water can remain distinct from another. Deep sea instruments help scientists follow these hidden paths. Autonomous floats drift with currents and record temperature and salinity. Some rise and fall through thousands of meters of water. After collecting data, they return to the surface and send information by satellite. Then they sink again and continue their journeys. Other instruments rest on the seafloor for months or years. They measure currents, pressure, sound, and temperature. When scientists return, the instruments may contain long records of quiet change. A current may strengthen during one season and weaken during another. A distant storm may create pressure signals at great depth. A passing whale may leave a brief pattern in the sound recording. Much of deep ocean science depends on patience. Researchers place an instrument into darkness and wait. The ocean provides its answer slowly. Sometimes the data return clearly. Sometimes an instrument is moved by sediment, damaged by pressure, or lost in deep water. Exploration remains uncertain. Even with modern technology, the seafloor does not always allow easy recovery. Cables can break, batteries can fail. Currents can carry equipment far from its expected position. Every successful measurement is a small conversation with a difficult environment. The deep ocean is patient, but not convenient. It asks humans to work carefully and accept incomplete knowledge. That incompleteness is part of its mystery. There are entire regions visited only by sonar or a few passing cameras. Some trenches have been entered by only one or two vehicles. Many seamounts have never been seen directly. Their shapes are known only as faint outlines in maps. A ridge may extend for hundreds of kilometers without a single close photograph. A canyon may contain species that have never been collected. The ocean remains the largest living space on Earth. Most of that space is dark. Most of it is cold. And much of it remains only lightly explored. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. Among the most mysterious deep-sea animals are those known only from rare encounters. Some are seen once in a net and never observed again. Others appear briefly on a camera before disappearing into darkness. A new species may be described from a single delicate specimen. Scientists compare its body, genes, and internal structures with known relatives. The process can take years. Even naming an animal is a slow form of discovery. Deep-sea species are often spread across large areas at low densities. This makes them difficult to find. Two individuals of the same species may live many kilometers apart. Currents help carry eggs, larvae, or small drifting stages between habitats. Some young animals rise into shallower water before returning to the depths. Others remain deep throughout their entire lives. Their life cycles may still be unknown. A fish may be common in the deep sea, yet no one may know where it lays eggs. A squid may be filmed often, yet its full growth pattern may remain uncertain. The deep ocean hides ordinary stages of life simply because they happen beyond observation. Some deep-sea fish produce surprisingly few offspring. Others release many tiny eggs into the water. The strategy depends on the species and the stability of its environment. Where food is scarce, growth may be slow. Where currents are strong, young animals may drift far from their parents. The deep sea encourages many different solutions. There is no single way to live in darkness. Some animals remain close to the bottom. Others spend their lives suspended in open water. Some attach themselves permanently to rock. Others migrate hundreds of meters every day. Certain creatures have broad fins that allow slow, careful movement. Others have nearly no muscle and simply drift. In the deep sea, stillness can be as useful as speed. Energy saved today may help an animal survive until the next meal arrives. Many deep-sea animals are soft because hard structures require energy and materials to build. Soft bodies also resist pressure well. Some fish have reduced bones. Some jelly-like animals are made almost entirely of water. At the surface, these bodies may lose their shape. In the deep ocean, they are perfectly suited to their surroundings. This is why deep-sea specimens can look very different after being brought upward. Pressure changes, temperature rises, and delicate tissues are damaged. A strange-looking specimen may have been graceful in its natural environment. Modern cameras help reveal that lost grace. An animal once known only from preserved tissue may appear calm and elegant when filmed alive. Its fins move gently. Its transparent body reflects blue light. Its long arms drift without effort. The deep ocean often looks more peaceful than early drawings suggested. Old illustrations sometimes imagined violent creatures and endless struggle. Direct observation has shown many animals moving slowly through quiet water. Life there can be unusual without being frightening. Mystery does not always mean danger. Sometimes it simply means softness, distance, and unfamiliar form. A Dumbo octopus is one gentle example. It has two fins above its eyes that resemble small ears. These fins help it move through deep water. Its arms are connected by a web of skin. Rather than swimming rapidly, it often glides above the seafloor. Dumbo octopuses live at some of the greatest depths known for any octopus. Different species inhabit different parts of the world. They feed on small animals found in sediment or water. Their movements are slow and controlled. Under research lights, they can appear almost weightless. The fins rise and fall. The arms open softly. Then the octopus drifts beyond the beam. Another unusual animal is the vampire squid. Its name sounds dramatic, but it is neither a vampire nor a true squid. It lives in deep waters where oxygen levels may be very low. Its body is dark, soft, and usually quite small. A web connects its arms like a quiet umbrella. It feeds mainly on drifting organic particles. Instead of actively hunting, it gathers marine snow with long filaments. Its scientific name reflects its appearance, not its behavior. The vampire squid is a peaceful collector in the darkness. When disturbed, it can turn its webbed arms outward. This reveals small light-producing organs. The display may confuse another animal for a moment. Then the vampire squid continues drifting. It is well adapted to an environment where saving energy matters. Its metabolism is lower than that of many shallow water cephalopods. It can live where few other squid-like animals are comfortable. The deep sea often rewards calmness. There's no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Some deep-sea animals live inside other animals. Tiny crustaceans may shelter within sponges. Worms may share burrows with larger species. Bacteria may live inside clams, mussels, or tube worms. These relationships can be essential. At hydrothermal vents, certain animals depend almost entirely on internal microbes. The microbes use sulfur compounds or methane to produce energy. The host animal provides access to chemicals from the water. Neither partner lives in isolation. Their lives become one connected system. This is common throughout nature. But deep-sea examples are especially striking. An animal may appear simple from outside. Inside, it may contain an entire microscopic community. The distinction between one organism and another becomes less clear. Life in the deep ocean is often cooperative at the smallest scale. Even whale falls depend on many stages of partnership. One species changes the environment for another. Microbes alter the chemistry. Worms open pathways into bone. Crustaceans carry fragments across the sediment. Over time, the whole community transforms the remains. Nothing is wasted quickly. Energy passes from one form of life to another. The deep ocean is efficient because resources arrive slowly. A single large event can support generations. A piece of wood may become shelter, food, and eventually sediment. A volcanic rock may become coated in microbes, then sponges, then corals. A whale skeleton may become part of the seafloor. Everything is gradually returned. The deep sea also contains mineral nodules scattered across some abyssal plains. These rounded objects grow around small fragments on the sediment surface. The center may begin with a shell piece, shark tooth, or tiny rock. Metal compounds slowly gather around it. The nodules can contain manganese, nickel, cobalt, and other elements, but their growth is extraordinarily slow. Some add only a few millimeters over millions of years. A small dark stone may be older than many mountain ranges. It may have rested undisturbed while continents shifted. Deep-sea sponges and other organisms sometimes attach to these nodules. Because the surrounding sediment is soft, the hard surface can be valuable. Removing a nodule would remove both ancient geology and living habitat. This has created serious questions about proposed deep-sea mining. Scientists are still studying how such activity might affect abyssal ecosystems. Sediment clouds could travel beyond the mined area. Slow-growing communities might take very long periods to recover. Many species in nodule fields have not yet been described. The scientific uncertainty is large. The deep sea floor changes slowly, so disturbance can remain visible for decades. Tracks left by research equipment many years ago may still be present. In shallow water, waves and currents often erase marks quickly. On the abyssal plain, a footprint can last. This gives the deep ocean a delicate kind of permanence. Soft mud records each passing object. A camera sled may leave parallel lines. A dropped weight may create a small crater. The seafloor remembers contact. The slow pace of recovery makes careful exploration especially important. Scientists try to collect information while reducing unnecessary damage. Robotic arms can take small samples. Cameras can observe without touching. New methods can identify species from water or sediment. DNA. The goal is to learn while leaving as much as possible unchanged. Exploration and protection are closely connected. We cannot protect places we do not understand, but studying them can also disturb them. The balance requires patience, caution, and humility. The deep ocean is not an empty resource. It is a living system with its own long timescales. What seems unused from the surface may be essential to animals below. A flat, muddy plain may contain hundreds of species. Many are small enough to hide between sediment grains. Some are visible only under a microscope. A single square meter can contain worms, crustaceans, mollusks, and countless microbes. The landscape may appear simple, while the community is complex. Mud itself can be a habitat. Animals move through it, mix it, and bring oxygen downward. This process is called bioturbation. A worm burrowing through sediment changes the chemistry around it. Sea cucumber feeding on the surface rearranges fine particles. A brittle star moves material with its arms. Small actions reshape the seafloor, grain by grain. Over long periods, these movements influence how carbon is buried. They also affect which microbes can live at different depths. The deep ocean is built not only by volcanoes and tectonic plates, it is also shaped by soft bodies moving through mud. If your thoughts are beginning to drift, you can let them. The ocean does not require your attention. Far beneath the surface, the sediments continue to settle. A small worm moves through darkness. A nodule rests where it has rested for millions of years. A current passes without sound. Above the abyssal plain, the water may seem empty. Yet transparent animals drift through it. Tiny crustaceans beat delicate legs. Larvae travel toward unknown habitats. Faint lights appear and vanish. Some animals use bioluminescence as a warning. Others use it to communicate. Certain species produce light only when touched. A disturbance can create a brief sparkling trail in warmer surface waters. People sometimes see waves glowing at night. In the deep sea, similar light can appear around moving animals. A submersible may pass through water filled with tiny flashes. Each flash is a response from a living cell. The darkness becomes briefly patterned with blue. Then the water returns to calm. Bioluminescence is so common in the deep ocean that some scientists consider it the normal language of darkness. Humans depend heavily on reflected light. Deep sea life often produces its own. A light organ can contain lenses, reflectors, filters, and shutters. These structures can control brightness and direction. Some are surprisingly complex. A fish may send light downward, but not upward. A squid may change the brightness of its underside. A jelly-like animal may release glowing particles into the water. The chemistry varies between species. Some make the necessary molecules themselves. Others obtain them from food. Some rely on bacteria. The same quiet blue glow can have many different origins. Certain animals can also see colors. Humans cannot easily imagine in darkness. Their eyes may be sensitive to narrow wavelengths. Some have multiple visual pigments. Others have simple eyes that detect only brightness and movement. Vision is shaped by what each species needs. There is no advantage in seeing colors that never exist nearby. The deep ocean edits the senses. It removes what is unnecessary and strengthens what remains. Touch may become more important. Long antennae detect movement in the water. Sensitive lines along a fish's body respond to pressure changes. Chemical receptors find faint traces of food. Sound reveals shapes beyond visible distance. The world is experienced through a different balance of senses. Darkness does not mean lack of information. It means information arrives in other ways. A small pressure wave can announce a passing animal. A chemical trail can remain after the source has moved away. A distant sound can travel through the basin. The deep ocean is full of signals too subtle for humans to notice. When researchers enter with bright lights and loud equipment, they bring an unfamiliar presence. Some animals approach curiously. Others drift away. Some remain still, perhaps relying on camouflage. The observation itself can change the scene. This is true in all science, but especially in darkness. The lights reveal the ocean while also altering it. New cameras are being designed to use dimmer or less disturbing wavelengths. Some instruments record without continuous illumination. The hope is to observe deep-sea life more naturally. Each improvement brings a quieter kind of knowledge. There are places where the deep ocean becomes warmer without volcanic activity. Geothermal heat slowly rises through the crust. Sediment can trap this warmth. Chemical reactions also release energy. The difference may be only a few degrees, yet in cold water, a few degrees can matter. Animals gather where conditions are slightly more favorable. Warmth can accelerate microbial activity. It can change how minerals dissolve. Small temperature gradients create hidden boundaries. The deep sea may look uniform, but it is filled with local variation. A vent field can contain water near freezing only meters from extremely hot fluid. A brine pool can have a sharp chemical boundary. A canyon wall can receive stronger currents than the plain below. A whale fall can create rich sediment beside ordinary mud. Life responds to these small differences. The result is a patchwork of habitats across the dark sea floor. Some patches last hours, others last thousands of years. A fallen animal may create a temporary island of food. A coral reef may grow slowly for centuries. A seamountain may guide currents for millions of years. The deep ocean contains many different clocks. Microbial reactions may happen in seconds. Sediment layers build over millennia. Tectonic plates move over geological ages. All of these timescales exist together. Tonight, you do not need to follow them separately. You can let them merge into one slow rhythm. Water moving, particles sinking, rock cooling, life glowing. The deep ocean continues without urgency. Far above, the surface may be bright with morning or dark with night. At these depths, the difference is almost meaningless. The water remains cold, the pressure remains steady. A soft rain of particles continues. An octopus glides over the sediment. A sponge filters the current. A current carries ancient water toward another basin, and somewhere beyond the research lights, an unknown animal drifts through darkness. It may never be seen by human eyes. Its life is still complete. It moves, senses, rests, and continues. The ocean does not require every creature to be discovered. It allows entire worlds to exist quietly. You can allow your thoughts to do the same. They do not need names. They do not need answers. They can drift beyond the light and become soft. The story will continue below the surface. You can follow it, or simply rest while the ocean carries it onward. The water continues moving through the darkness, carrying small traces of life between distant places. Some of these traces settle onto the seafloor. Others remain suspended for years. A tiny particle can travel farther than any single animal. It may begin near a river, pass across the open ocean, and finally sink into a trench. By then, its journey has connected land, atmosphere, surface water, and the deep sea. The deep ocean is not isolated from the rest of Earth. It is quietly connected to almost everything above it. Rain falling on a mountain may eventually enter a river. The river carries minerals toward the coast. Currents move those minerals offshore. Some remain dissolved. Others become part of shells, sediments, or living bodies. In time, a portion may reach the deepest ocean floor. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. At great depth, the seafloor can be covered by sediments thousands of meters thick. These layers accumulate over immense spans of time. The oldest layers may contain remains from oceans that look very different from those of today. Microscopic shells can reveal former temperatures. Dust can show how dry ancient continents once were. Chemical traces can record changes in atmospheric carbon. Even the orientation of magnetic minerals can preserve shifts in Earth's magnetic field. A cylinder of ocean sediment can become a narrow history of the planet. Scientists collect these cylinders using long, coring devices. The instrument enters the sea floor and returns with stacked layers of mud. Each layer represents a different period. Near the top, the sediment is recent and soft. Deeper layers become older and more compact. Some cores contain records extending back millions of years. Researchers examine their colors, grain sizes, fossils, and chemistry. Dark bands may indicate periods with less oxygen. Pale layers may contain abundant shells. A thin line of volcanic ash may mark an eruption from a distant continent. The deep sea receives material from events it never sees directly. A volcano may erupt beneath a bright sky. Years later, its ash rests in darkness beneath the ocean. A drought may cover a continent in dust. Winds lift that dust and carry it across thousands of kilometers. Some settles in the water and sinks. The deep seafloor becomes a quiet archive of the surface world. It records storms, eruptions, ice ages, and changing currents. But the archive is never perfectly complete. Currents can disturb the sediment. Animals mix the upper layers. Some shells dissolve before they arrive. Scientists must read the record carefully. The ocean rarely tells its story in a simple line. It offers fragments that slowly become patterns. This is true of many deep-sea discoveries. One observation may seem small: a temperature change, a chemical signal, a new kind of shell. Over years, many small observations form a clearer picture. Science in the deep ocean often advances through patience rather than sudden revelation. A ship may return to the same region many times. Each expedition brings better maps and new questions. A place once known as a blank area becomes a canyon. The canyon becomes a network of slopes. The slopes become habitats for corals, sponges, and fish. The more closely scientists look, the less empty the deep ocean appears. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. Some of the oldest animals on Earth live in cold, deep water. Certain glass sponges may survive for thousands of years. Some deep-sea corals can also reach extraordinary ages. Their slow growth allows them to record changes in the water around them. Like trees, they build layers over time. The chemistry of each layer reflects the ocean during that period. A coral skeleton may preserve information about temperature, nutrients, and currents. Its body becomes both habitat and history. Long-lived animals experience changes too gradual for a human lifetime. A coral may begin growing before a city is founded. It may remain while coastlines change and generations pass. In the deep ocean, life can persist through remarkable stretches of time. Cold temperatures and slow metabolism help make this possible. Yet long life often comes with slow recovery. A coral broken in seconds may require centuries to regrow. This is why deep-sea habitats can be especially vulnerable. A trawling net may pass once across the bottom. The physical marks can remain for many years. Delicate coral branches may not return within a human lifetime. The deep ocean is vast, but some habitats are rare. A single seamount may contain species found nowhere else. A vent field may depend on one narrow geological system. Large space does not always mean endless resilience. Some deep-sea communities are widespread. Others exist in tiny islands, separated by great distances. Larvae must travel between these islands through darkness. Currents determine where they go. A small change in circulation can affect whether they reach suitable habitat. Many larvae drift for days, weeks, or months. They may sense temperature, chemicals, pressure, or sound. These clues help them settle in the right place. A young coral larva may be almost invisible, yet it must find a hard surface in an enormous ocean. A vent animal must locate a rare area of warm, mineral-rich water. The success of an entire life can depend on subtle signals. Some larvae settle near adults of the same species. Others respond to bacteria growing on rocks. The seafloor contains chemical messages too faint for humans to notice. Life reads these messages quietly. A rock may say that water is warm. A current may carry the scent of food. A low-frequency sound may suggest a reef or seamount. The ocean is full of guidance, hidden within movement. Deep-sea animals also use touch in remarkable ways. Long antennae can extend beyond the body. Fine hairs detect vibrations. Some fish have sensitive pores along their heads. These structures respond to changes in pressure and water flow. An approaching animal can be sensed before it is seen. A current moving around a rock creates a distinct pattern. In darkness, the water itself becomes a source of information. Certain fish rest just above the seafloor. Their fins make small adjustments to hold position. Others stand on modified fin rays. These rays look almost like thin legs. The fish uses them to feel the sediment and move slowly across it. This behavior may look unusual, but it is simply another way of living near the bottom. The deep sea encourages shapes rarely seen in shallow water. Some fish have long bodies and reduced fins. Others are round and soft. A few have wide mouths, allowing them to accept rare opportunities for food. These features are often exaggerated in preserved specimens. In natural conditions, the animals may appear far more balanced and gentle. A deep-sea fish does not know that humans consider its shape strange. It only knows pressure, current, darkness, and the need to conserve energy. Its body fits the world it inhabits. Nothing about it is unfinished. Nothing about it is wrong. It belongs to the deep water as naturally as a bird belongs to the sky. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. One of the most graceful deep-sea animals is the big fin squid. It has very long, thin arm filaments. When filmed, these filaments can hang beneath the body in delicate lines. The squid often holds its arms at sharp angles. Its full behavior remains poorly understood. Most observations come from brief encounters with underwater cameras. A research vehicle may see one hovering above the seafloor. For a few moments, the animal remains within the light. Then it slowly moves away. The long filaments disappear first. The body follows. Soon, only darkness remains. Many deep-sea sightings are like this. Short meeting, a few images, a new question. Some animals are seen so rarely that scientists cannot confidently estimate their numbers. They may be naturally uncommon. They may live in regions seldom explored, or they may simply avoid lights and vehicles. Absence from a camera does not always mean absence from the ocean. The deep sea allows life to remain hidden even when it is nearby. This makes every observation valuable, but also incomplete. Scientists avoid drawing strong conclusions from a single encounter. They compare locations, depths, temperatures, and behavior. Over time, patterns may appear. A species once thought rare may turn out to be widely distributed. Another may exist only within a narrow depth range. Knowledge changes as new dives add new evidence. The deep ocean teaches caution. It reminds us how easy it is to mistake limited observation for complete understanding. A vehicle explores only a small path through an enormous volume. Its lights reveal a thin corridor. Everything beyond that corridor remains unseen. The same animal may be common just outside the beam, or the beam may cross a place no animal usually visits. Each dive is a small window, not the whole world. Even sonar has limits. It can map broad shapes. It can detect layers of animals. But it cannot always identify species. A cloud of tiny organisms may appear as a dense band. This band is sometimes called the deep scattering layer. Early sonar operators mistook it for a false sea floor. During the day, the layer often rests deeper. At night, it rises toward the surface. The movement reflects the daily migration of countless small animals. Fish, squid, and crustaceans create echoes strong enough to resemble solid ground. The ocean can appear to have a moving bottom. This discovery helped reveal the scale of vertical migration. Every evening, a living layer rises through the water. Every morning, it descends. The movement happens across much of the planet. It is so large that it may be the greatest daily migration by biomass on Earth. Yet from the surface, the ocean may look completely calm. A ship can cross above while billions of animals move below. The largest events are not always visible. Some take place in darkness and silence. These migrations also affect oxygen and carbon. Animals feed near the surface. They breathe, release waste, and sometimes become food at greater depth. Carbon moves downward through their bodies. This process is part of the biological pump. The term describes several ways life carries carbon from the surface into the deep ocean. Microscopic plants absorb carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. Small animals eat those plants. Particles form and sink. Migrating animals transport more material downward. Some carbon returns quickly to the surface. Some remains deep for centuries. A portion becomes buried in sediment for much longer. The deep sea plays a quiet role in regulating Earth's atmosphere. Its living systems influence the climate above. A transparent animal drifting in darkness may seem insignificant, but countless small animals together can change the movement of carbon across the planet. The same is true of microbes. They are tiny, yet they perform much of the ocean's chemical work. They break down organic matter. They recycle nutrients. They transform nitrogen, sulfur, methane, and carbon. Without microbes, marine ecosystems would not function. Deep sea microbes often live with very little energy. Some use oxygen, others use nitrate, sulfate, or metal compounds. Certain microbes consume methane before it reaches the water above. This can reduce the amount entering the atmosphere. At cold seeps, communities of microbes form dense mats. These mats may appear white or pale beneath vehicle lights. Below them, chemical reactions continue within the sediment. Different groups occupy different layers. Each uses the products created by another. The sediment becomes a stacked community of invisible metabolism. Few centimeters can contain major changes in chemistry. Near the surface, oxygen may be present. Slightly deeper, it disappears. Below that, sulfate or methane may dominate. Microbes adjust to each zone. The deep sea floor can contain entire ecosystems within the thickness of a hand. If your thoughts are drifting now, allow them to drift. Nothing needs to be remembered. The ocean can carry the details for you. Some deep sea microbes live in warm environments beneath the crust. Others survive near freezing. A few tolerate high pressure that changes the structure of ordinary cells. Their membranes contain special fats. Their proteins remain stable. Their enzymes continue working under conditions that would stop many surface organisms. These adaptations are important to astrobiology. Scientists study them to understand how life might survive elsewhere. An icy moon may contain a dark ocean beneath its surface. A distant planet may have high-pressure seas. Earth's deep ocean provides examples of life beyond sunlight and familiar air. It suggests that habitable environments can be hidden. A world does not need forests or open skies to support chemistry and life. It may contain warm rock, liquid water, minerals, and slow energy. The possibility is quiet but profound. Our own planet still contains environments that feel almost alien. Hydrothermal vents were unknown to science until the late 20th century. Before their discovery, sunlight was considered the foundation of nearly every ecosystem. The vents revealed another possibility. Chemical energy could support complex communities. This changed biology, geology, and the search for life beyond Earth. The discovery also showed how much can remain hidden on a familiar planet. Humans had crossed the oceans for thousands of years. Entire ecosystems continued below, unseen. There may be other discoveries of similar importance still waiting. Perhaps not dramatic creatures. Perhaps a new metabolism, a new partnership between organisms, a new way that carbon moves. A new record of ancient climate. The deep sea holds questions in many forms. Some questions are biological, others are geological or chemical. Many are connected. A vent community depends on tectonic activity. A trench ecosystem depends on sediment movement. A coral forest depends on currents. The ocean does not divide itself into scientific subjects. Rock, water, life, and climate move together. A single sample can contain all of them. A piece of coral records water chemistry. The water chemistry reflects currents. The currents reflect climate. The coral also shelters living animals. Everything overlaps. This connectedness makes the deep ocean difficult to understand completely. It also makes it beautiful. A current beginning near polar ice may influence a coral far away. A whale falling through dark water may support microbes related to those near a vent. Dust from a desert may nourish surface life that later sinks into the abyss. No place is entirely alone. The distances are immense, but the connections remain. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Far from continents, the abyssal plains seem especially remote. The nearest land may be thousands of kilometers away. Above the seafloor, the water column rises for several kilometers. The sky is beyond all of it. A particle sinking there passes through many worlds, begins in sunlight, then enters twilight, then darkness. Temperature falls, pressure rises. Different animals appear at each depth. By the time the particle reaches the bottom, weeks may have passed. If it is not eaten, it becomes part of the sediment. Yukon's part of the sediment. Yukon's part of the sediment. A single journey downward connects the entire ocean vertically. Some particles sink quickly. Others are nearly weightless and remain suspended. Sticky substances help small particles gather into larger ones. These larger clumps fall more efficiently. The process resembles snowflakes forming in a cloud. Tiny pieces meet, combine, and descend. Deep-sea animals intercept them along the way. Some build mucus nets to collect passing particles. Larvaceans create delicate houses made of mucus. These structures filter food from seawater. When the filters become clogged, the animal abandons them. The discarded houses sink rapidly. They can carry large amounts of carbon into deeper water. A fragile structure made by a tiny animal becomes part of a planetary process. The ocean is filled with such small mechanisms. A swimming motion changes a current. A mucus net gathers carbon. A shell removes minerals from water. A microbe alters a gas. Together, these actions shape the chemistry of the sea. No single organism understands the whole system. Each simply lives according to its own needs. The larger pattern emerges from countless small lives. This can be a restful thought. The ocean does not manage itself through one central plan. It continues through many gentle actions happening at once. Water sinks. Animals migrate. Particles fall. Microbes transform. I.e., currents return. The system remains imperfect, changing, and alive. Far below, an abyssal hill rises slightly above the plain. The slope is gentle. A few sponges grow where the current is stronger. Small fish hover close to the bottom. A sea cucumber leaves a soft trail. Nothing appears to happen quickly, yet the hill changes the flow of water. The sponges filter particles. The animals move sediment. The scene is quiet, but not inactive. This is true across much of the deep ocean. Stillness often contains slow work. Coral grows by a tiny amount. A mineral nodule gains another layer. A microbe divides after a long interval. A current shifts a grain of sand. Change does not need to be fast to be important. The deepest landscapes are shaped by patience. You can allow the same patience within yourself. There is nowhere you need to arrive tonight. No conclusion needs to be reached. The story can remain unfinished. The ocean itself remains unfinished. New crust forms. Old crust sinks. Species appear and disappear. Currents change. Sediments continue to settle. Every moment becomes another thin layer. Above, the moon may be moving across the sky. Waves may be shining beneath it. Far below, the darkness remains steady. A faint light moves through the water. Long fin turns. A transparent body drifts past. Then, the deep ocean becomes quiet again. You can let the words grow softer now. Let the details separate and fade. the water continues downward, beyond dot. The currents carry the story onward. And somewhere beneath the surface, the ocean keeps its slow and peaceful rhythm. Far beyond the last fading light, the deep ocean continues to shape the planet in quiet and patient ways. Its currents move heat, its sediments store carbon. Its hidden ridges create new crust. Its living communities transform chemistry, one small step at a time. None of this needs to happen quickly. The deep sea works through long cycles that may last centuries or millions of years. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. There is no need to hold on to every detail. Across the seafloor, long chains of underwater volcanoes reveal the movement of tectonic plates. Some form above places where hot material rises from deep within Earth. As a plate moves across one of these regions, new volcanoes appear in sequence. Older volcanoes travel away, cool, and slowly sink. This can create a line of islands and seamounts stretching across an ocean basin. The Hawaiian Islands are one familiar example above the surface. Beneath the water, the chain continues much farther. Some former islands have been submerged for millions of years. Their slopes are now covered with sediment, coral, and deep-sea life. The oldest parts of the chain rest in cold darkness. They once stood beneath sunlight and rain. Birds may have crossed their shores. Waves may have broken against volcanic cliffs. Now only the flattened mountains remain. The ocean has folded their former coastlines into its deeper landscape. Some submerged islands carry fossil coral reefs far below their original depth. These reefs formed when the island was closer to the surface. As the crust cooled and sank, the reef descended with it. The remains preserve an ancient sea level and a vanished tropical environment. A piece of limestone in the deep ocean may have begun as coral beneath a warm sun. Earth's landscapes are always moving. Even when they appear still, continents shift. Ocean basins open and close. Volcanoes rise. Mountains sink. The deep sea holds evidence of these slow transformations. It also contains scars from events that happened long before humans existed. Large impact craters may lie buried beneath sediment. Ancient landslides leave broad deposits across the seafloor. Past changes in sea level have carved channels along continental margins. Every part of the ocean floor has a history. Some histories are clear, and others are hidden beneath kilometers of mud. Scientists use seismic sound waves to see below the sediment. These waves reflect from layers of rock. The returning patterns reveal folds, faults, old channels, and buried structures. A map of the seafloor shows the surface. Seismic data reveal what lies beneath it. Together, they create a deeper picture of the planet. Even then, the image remains incomplete. Rock samples are needed to confirm age and composition. Drilling ships collect cylinders from beneath the seabed. Some drill through hundreds of meters of sediment. The cores return in sections. Each section is carefully labeled, photographed, and studied. Within them are fossils, minerals, gases, and ancient water. A narrow tube of rock can contain millions of years. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. The deep ocean also preserves traces of early life. Some of the oldest chemical evidence on Earth comes from minerals shaped by ancient oceans. The first living cells likely developed in water. Exactly where and how remains uncertain. Hydrothermal environments are one possibility. Scientists continue to study. Mineral-rich vents provide heat, chemical gradients, and protected spaces. Tiny pores in vent structures may have concentrated useful molecules. These conditions could have supported early chemical reactions. Other ideas place life's beginnings in shallow pools or coastal environments. the question remains open. The deep sea does not provide a final answer. It offers one quiet possibility among several. At modern vents, microbes use chemical energy in ways that may resemble ancient metabolisms. Some do not need oxygen. They rely on hydrogen, sulfur, carbon dioxide, or methane. These pathways may have existed before oxygen became common in Earth's atmosphere. The deep ocean can therefore resemble earlier periods of planetary history. In certain places, it holds chemistry that is both modern and ancient. A vent field may last only a short geological time, yet the processes supporting it may be among the oldest on Earth. Black smoker vents release dark clouds filled with mineral particles. The name comes from their appearance beneath research lights. The material is not smoke. It is hot water carrying dissolved metals and sulfur compounds. When the fluid meets cold seawater, minerals rapidly form. The particles create a dark plume. Chimneys grow around the opening. Some become several stories tall. Their walls may contain layers of iron, copper, zinc, and other minerals. Inside, extremely hot fluid rises through narrow channels. Outside, cold seawater surrounds living animals. The temperature difference can be enormous across only a few centimeters. Nearby, white smoker vents release paler minerals. They are often cooler than black smokers. Their fluids may contain compounds of barium, calcium, or silicon. Each vent field has its own chemistry. The underlying rock affects what the water carries. Some vents form on volcanic basalt. Others appear where seawater reacts with deeper mantle rocks. These reactions can produce hydrogen. Microbes can use that hydrogen as an energy source. One famous vent area, called the Lost City, differs from typical black smoker fields. Its towers are pale and made largely of carbonate minerals. Some rise like silent buildings from the seafloor. The fluids are warm rather than extremely hot. The structures can remain active for very long periods. They show that hydrothermal systems can take many forms. A vent does not need dark smoke or intense heat to support unusual chemistry. The deep ocean contains variation even within its rarest environments. Around some vents, giant tube worms grow in dense groups. Their bright surface colors appear vivid under research lights. They have no mouth and no ordinary digestive system. Inside them live bacteria that use sulfur compounds for energy. The worms supply oxygen and chemicals through specialized tissues. The bacteria provide nutrients. This partnership allows the worms to grow rapidly compared with many deep-sea animals. When a vent first becomes active, microbes may arrive quickly. Other animals follow. Communities develop in stages. Some species prefer the hottest edges. Others live farther away in cooler water. As the vent weakens, the community changes again. Eventually, the flow may stop. The chimneys become cold. Animals that depend on active chemistry disappear. Sponges, corals, and other species may later settle on the remaining structure. A living vent becomes a mineral monument. Its community fades, but the chimney can remain. New vents open elsewhere along the ridge. Larvae travel through deep currents searching for them. How they find these rare habitats remains an important question. Some may respond to temperature. Others may detect chemicals. Currents may carry them along predictable paths. The journey is uncertain, yet life repeatedly succeeds. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Deep-sea hot springs also influence the chemistry of the entire ocean. Seawater enters the crust, carrying dissolved substances. It reacts with hot rock below. Some elements are removed. others are added. The altered water returns through vents. Over long periods, this circulation helps regulate the composition of seawater. The process occurs far from sunlight, but it affects the global ocean. The crust beneath the seafloor is not a sealed boundary. Water moves through it continuously. In young volcanic regions, seawater can travel deep into cracks. It may remain below for years before returning. Microbes live in some of these hidden pathways. This region is called the subsea floor biosphere. It may contain an immense number of cells. Their total mass is difficult to estimate. They live beneath sediments and inside rock pores. Some depend on chemicals produced when water reacts with minerals. Others use organic matter carried downward from above. Their activity is slow, yet across the planet, their combined influence may be significant. The limits of life beneath the seafloor are still unknown. Temperature increases with depth. Eventually, heat becomes too great for known organisms, but the exact boundary varies. Water availability, pressure, and chemistry also matter. Each drilling expedition reveals another piece of the hidden biosphere. A sample from deep rock may contain only a few cells. Great care is needed to avoid contamination. Scientists compare genes, chemical signatures, and cell shapes. They must determine whether the organisms were truly living there. The work is careful and uncertain. Life at such low energy levels challenges ordinary ideas about activity. Some cells may spend long periods in maintenance rather than growth. They repair damage. They preserve their internal chemistry. They divide rarely. Their existence may be closer to waiting than to active expansion. This slow life suits the pace of the deep earth. Rock changes gradually. Water moves through tiny spaces. Energy arrives in small amounts. The organisms continue without hurry. The deep ocean repeatedly shows that survival does not always require abundance. A little energy can sustain life when it is used carefully. A small current can carry oxygen. A few sinking particles can feed a community. A mineral reaction can support microbes. Life adjusts its pace to what is available. This is one reason the deepest environments can feel so peaceful. Nothing can afford constant urgency. Many animals rest for long periods. They move only when movement is useful. Their bodies are built for patience. Some deep-sea fish appear to hover almost motionlessly. Their fins make tiny corrections. Their hearts beat slowly. Their metabolism remains low. They wait in dark water where energy is precious. A meal may arrive unexpectedly. Until then, stillness is an advantage. Some species have flexible jaws or stomachs that expand. These features allow them to use rare food opportunities. The appearance may seem unusual under bright lights, but the purpose is simple. In a place where food is unpredictable, the body must be prepared. Other animals store energy in oils. Oil is lighter than water and can help with buoyancy. It also provides long-lasting fuel. Deep-sea sharks often have large, oily livers. This helps them remain suspended without constant swimming. Some sharks living at great depth grow very slowly. They may mature late and have few young. The Greenland shark is an extraordinary example from cold northern waters. Evidence suggests that some individuals may live for several centuries. They move slowly through deep and icy seas. Their long lifespan is connected to cold temperature and slow metabolism. A single shark may have been alive before many modern cities took their present form. Its life passes on an oceanic timescale. It does not hurry through the water. It simply continues. Long life in the deep sea is found in many forms. Certain rockfish may survive for more than a century. Some clams live even longer. Deep corals can persist across thousands of years. Age is difficult to measure in animals without obvious growth rings. Scientists use chemical methods, layers in hard tissues, and known growth rates. Each method has uncertainty, but the overall pattern is clear. Cold, stable environments can support extremely slow lives. The deep ocean changes less from day to day than the surface. There are no rapid swings between hot afternoons and cold nights. There are no seasons of sunlight and darkness at great depth. Temperature remains nearly constant. This stability allows some organisms to invest in long, gradual growth. Yet stability also means adaptation to narrow conditions. A small change in temperature or oxygen can be difficult for specialized species. The deep sea appears resilient because it is vast, but some of its inhabitants depend on remarkable consistency. Climate change is beginning to affect even these distant waters. Heat can travel downward. Oxygen levels can shift. Ocean chemistry can change as more carbon dioxide dissolves into seawater. These changes happen slowly at depth, but deep-sea organisms also respond slowly. Their ability to adapt may not match the speed of modern change. Scientists monitor temperature, oxygen, and acidity across the ocean. Long-term measurements are especially valuable. A single expedition shows only one moment. A record lasting decades reveals direction. Deep ocean observatories collect continuous data. Some are connected to shore by cables. They provide power and transmit information in real time. Cameras can watch bent fields for months. Sensors record earthquakes and currents. Hydrophones listen to whales and ships. The deep sea becomes observable without a research vessel always being present. This reduces some limits of short expeditions. It also reveals events that happen unexpectedly. An event may change suddenly. An animal may visit only once each year. A small earthquake may alter fluid flow. Continuous observation catches moments that would otherwise be missed. The seafloor does not follow a human schedule. Important changes may occur at night, in winter, or between expeditions. Long-term instruments wait patiently. They are silent witnesses in the darkness. If your thoughts are beginning to loosen, you can let them drift. The story will continue whether every word is heard or not. Near some continental margins, large amounts of methane are stored beneath the seafloor. Under cold temperatures and high pressure, methane can combine with water to form ice-like structures. These are called methane hydrates. They occur within sediments and beneath the seabed. They may contain a very large amount of carbon. The hydrates remain stable only under certain conditions. Changes in pressure or temperature can cause them to break down. Some methane then moves upward through the sediment. Microbes consume much of it before it reaches the ocean. At cold seeps, methane supports dense microbial communities. Some microbes work together in partnerships. One group processes methane, another uses sulfate from seawater. Their combined reactions produce energy. The process can create carbonate minerals. Over time, these minerals form hard crusts and mounds. Animals attach to the new surfaces. A chemical seep gradually becomes a reef-like habitat. Methane may sound unfamiliar, but it is part of many natural ocean processes. It forms beneath sediments through microbial activity and geological reactions. The deep sea contains systems that limit how much escapes. Microbes act as a biological filter. They transform methane into other forms of carbon. This reduces its movement toward the atmosphere. Again, tiny organisms influence the climate of the whole planet. Their work takes place in darkness. They receive no sunlight. They are never seen without specialized instruments. Yet their role is important. The ocean is shaped by countless unseen processes. Many happen at scales smaller than a grain of sand. Others stretch across entire basins. A microbe changes one molecule. A current moves a continent's worth of water. Both belong to the same system. Some deep ocean currents follow the edges of continents. They form narrow streams near the bottom. These currents can transport sediment over long distances. They carve channels and build ridges of mud. The resulting formations are called contourites. Unlike deposits created by downhill flows, contours are shaped by currents moving along slopes. They preserve records of past circulation. A strong current leaves different sediment than a weak one. By studying these layers, scientists can infer how ocean circulation changed. Changes in circulation often connect to climate. During colder periods, deep water formation may strengthen or shift. During warmer periods, different pathways may develop. The seafloor records these changes in grain size and chemistry. The global ocean has reorganized many times. Gateways have opened and closed as continents moved. The formation of the Isthmus of Panama changed connections between the Atlantic and Pacific. The opening of passages around Antarctica allowed a powerful current to circle the continent. These geological events altered climate and marine life. An ocean current may seem temporary, but its path can be shaped by tectonic movements lasting millions of years. Water responds to the form of the planet. Mountains guide it. Continents block it. Ridges divide it. Trenches channel it. The ocean floor is not merely beneath the currents. It helps create them. At the same time, currents reshape the seafloor. They move sand and mud. They expose rock. They carry larvae. Land and water continuously influence one another. The deep sea is a moving landscape within a moving fluid. Nothing is completely fixed, yet the changes are often slow enough to feel like stillness. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Imagine now a broad plain beneath 4 kilometers of water. The sediment is soft and pale. Small mounds rise where animals have burrowed. Faint tracks cross the surface. A deep current passes only a few centimeters above the bottom. It bends around a sponge. Tiny particles lift into the water. Then, they settle again nearby. A sea star moves so slowly that its progress is almost impossible to see. A small fish rests within the gentle boundary current close to the mud. Farther away, a dark mineral nodule lies partly buried. It has remained there for millions of years. Above the plain, the water rises through darkness. A transparent jelly drifts past. Its body pulses once. Then again, each movement carries it only a short distance. A faint blue line appears along its edge. The light fades. Nothing follows. The ocean returns to blackness. Many bioluminescent signals last less than a second. A flash can communicate without revealing an animal for long. Some signals are repeated in patterns. The timing may help animals recognize their own species. A different rhythm could mean a different species. The dark water contains countless codes. Humans understand only a few. Researchers sometimes use low-light cameras to record natural bioluminescence. Bright lamps can overwhelm the subtle signals. By reducing artificial light, they see more of the ocean's own illumination. Small sparks appear around drifting organisms. A moving fish leaves a brief trail. A jelly produces waves of light across its bell. These displays are not decorations. They are part of daily life. The deep ocean may contain more light-producing animals than non-luminous ones. Living light is not unusual there. It is one of the environment's central features. Some animals can produce red light. Red wavelengths do not travel far through seawater. This makes them useful for short-range illumination. Certain deep-sea fish can shine red light ahead. Many nearby animals may not be able to detect it. The fish gains a private form of vision. It can see without being easily seen. This is sometimes compared to using an invisible lamp. The adaptation requires both a red light source and eyes sensitive to that light. Evolution has shaped both systems together. Other animals produce ultraviolet signals. Some may see polarized light. The visual world of the deep sea is more complex than simple darkness. Humans experience only a small part of it. Our cameras translate some wavelengths into visible images, but the animals themselves may perceive patterns we cannot imagine directly. The same water can contain many different sensory worlds. A whale experiences it through sound. A fish may sense electrical fields. A crustacean feels vibrations through long antennae. A squid reads faint light. A microbe responds to chemical gradients. Each organism lives within its own version of the deep ocean. The environment is shared, but experience is different. This is true everywhere on Earth. In the deep sea, the differences become especially clear. Darkness asks life to find other ways of knowing. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. Some deep-sea fish can detect weak electrical signals produced by muscles and nerves. This ability is useful when vision is limited. Sharks and rays have specialized sensory organs for this purpose. The organs contain small gel-filled channels. They respond to tiny voltage changes in the surrounding water. An animal hidden beneath sediment can still produce a detectable signal. Earth's magnetic field may also guide some marine species. Sea turtles, fish, and whales appear capable of sensing magnetic information. Exactly how this works remains under study. Magnetic cues may help with navigation across large distances. In an ocean without visible landmarks, invisible fields become a map. Currents also provide directional information. Temperature layers mark depth. The angle of sunlight helps near the surface. Sound from reefs, coastlines, ice, or other animals can guide movement. The ocean contains many overlapping maps. Deep-sea animals may combine several. A migrating squid could follow temperature and current. A larva might respond to chemistry and pressure. A whale may remember sound routes across a basin. Navigation does not always require sight. The deep ocean is full of journeys made without a horizon. Some animals travel between feeding and breeding grounds, thousands of kilometers apart. They cross regions with no obvious boundaries. Their routes may follow ancient patterns learned or inherited across generations. The ocean appears open, yet animals move through familiar corridors. Currents form highways. Temperature fronts form edges. Seamounts become meeting points. Continental slopes become long pathways. The hidden geography is known through the body. A whale does not need a printed map. Its senses, memory, and social knowledge guide it. Some whale groups pass migration routes from older animals to younger ones. Songs and calls may help maintain contact. Culture exists beneath the waves in forms humans are still learning to understand. Sperm whales live in social groups with distinctive patterns of clicks. These patterns are sometimes called codas. Different groups may use different rhythmic styles. The clicks help individuals recognize one another. They may carry identity across dark water. Deep ocean filled with sound can also be filled with relationships. Animals that appear isolated may remain connected acoustically. Their companions can be far beyond visual range. A call travels outward, another returns. Distance becomes less empty. Human activity has added new sounds to the sea. Ships produce continuous low-frequency noise. Sonar creates stronger pulses. Construction, drilling, and exploration add other sounds. These can interfere with animal communication. Scientists study how noise affects behavior, stress, and migration. Some regions are much louder than they were in the past. The deep sea is no longer protected from surface activity by distance alone. Sound crosses that distance easily. Efforts to reduce underwater noise include slower ship speeds and quieter propeller designs. Changes in routing can move traffic away from sensitive habitats. Monitoring helps identify important areas. The ocean's acoustic environment can be protected, just as physical habitats can. Quiet is a natural resource. For many marine animals, it is part of their living space. Tonight, you can imagine the older ocean. No engines, no cables, only currents, ice, rain, distant earthquakes, and living calls. A whale sends a low note through the basin. The sound travels beyond the darkness. It weakens slowly. For a long time, it remains within the water. Then it becomes too faint to measure. The ocean carries it away. Your thoughts can follow in the same gentle way. They can travel outward and gradually become quieter. Nothing needs to stop suddenly. Nothing needs to be forced away. Each thought can fade through distance. Far below, the seafloor remains steady. A vent releases warm water. A coral adds a nearly invisible layer. A microbe transforms methane. Current passes around an ancient mountain. All of it continues without hurry. The surface may be far above. The stars may be hidden by clouds. The night may be moving slowly toward morning. But here, the deep ocean remains outside those changes. It holds its cold water, soft sediments, and scattered living lights. You can rest within that steadiness. The story will continue. Even if the words begin to dissolve, let the ocean carry the remaining details. Let the darkness remain gentle, and allow yourself to drift quietly into the next depth. Deeper still, the ocean opens into regions where even familiar ideas of distance begin to soften. There is no sunrise here, no sunset, and no visible line between one hour and the next. Only pressure, current, temperature, and the slow movement of living things remain. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. There is no need to hold on to every detail. In the deepest parts of the water column, animals often live far apart. Food is scarce, and encounters may be infrequent. Because of this, some species have developed remarkable ways to find one another. Chemical signals can travel through the water. Light can flash in repeating patterns. Sound can cross distances far beyond the reach of sight. A single signal may be enough to guide another animal closer. In the open deep sea, finding a partner can be as important as finding food. Some animals remain together once they meet. Others release eggs and sperm into the water at carefully timed moments. Currents carry the next generation away. The young may drift through depths very different from those of the adults. A larva can be transparent, delicate, and almost impossible to recognize. Later, it changes shape and becomes a completely different looking animal. Many deep-sea life cycles are known only in fragments. Scientists may know the adult form but not the young. They may find larvae without knowing what they will become. Genetic analysis can sometimes connect these hidden stages. A tiny drifting creature may be matched to an adult living thousands of meters below. The discovery joins two pieces of a life story that once seemed unrelated. The deep ocean is full of incomplete biographies. An egg is found in the sediment. A larva appears in a net. An adult passes a camera. Years later, the pieces finally connect. There is something peaceful in this slow gathering of knowledge. The ocean does not reveal everything at once. It allows understanding to grow gradually. Some deep-sea octopuses place their eggs carefully on rock. A mother may remain nearby for years. She protects the eggs while they develop slowly in cold water. One observed deep-sea octopus guarded her eggs for more than 4 years. During that time, she rarely moved away. Cold temperatures slow the development of the young. The long wait gives them time to form completely before hatching. Deep-sea reproduction often follows a slower clock. Embryos grow gradually. Young animals may remain small for long periods. Maturity can take many years. Nothing in the deep ocean is required to hurry. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. Some octopuses gather in surprising numbers around warm seafloor springs. These places are sometimes called octopus gardens. The water there may be only slightly warmer than the surrounding sea. Yet that small difference can shorten the time needed for eggs to develop. Females settle close together across the rocky bottom. Each remains near her own cluster of eggs. From above, the sea may look like a quiet gathering. Pale bodies rest beside stones. Soft arms curve around the eggs. Warm water moves gently through cracks below. The surrounding deep sea remains cold and dark. The warmth creates a small nursery within it. When the young hatch, they enter the current and begin lives mostly unseen. The adults eventually disappear. The garden remains as part of a repeating cycle. New individuals may arrive later. The same patch of warm rock becomes important across generations. A small geological feature can shape the future of an entire population. Deep-sea nurseries are not limited to octopuses. Some sharks leave egg cases on coral branches. Certain fish gather in places with steady currents. Young animals may depend on specific depths, temperatures, or structures. A habitat can be valuable even when adults visit only briefly. Protecting these places requires understanding when and how they are used. A seamount may appear ordinary during one expedition. Months later, it may become a breeding ground. The deep ocean changes with hidden seasons, not seasons of sunlight, but seasons of migration, reproduction, and falling food. Near the surface, spring blooms create vast amounts of microscopic plant life. Weeks later, some of that material sinks into deeper water. Animals below may respond to this delayed arrival. A deep-sea community can experience spring long after the surface has changed. The signal arrives as a pulse of marine snow. Activity increases. Animals gather. Microbes begin transforming the new material. Then the pulse fades, and the seafloor returns to its usual pace. The deep ocean receives seasons as messages from above. Each message is softened by distance. A storm may stir surface water today. Its organic effects may reach the seabed much later. The deep sea lives beneath delayed weather. Even major events can arrive gradually. Wildfire ash may settle on the ocean. Floods may carry extra sediment offshore. Icebergs may release minerals as they melt. These materials begin new journeys downward. A particle may remain suspended for months. Another may join a larger clump and fall quickly. No two paths are exactly the same. The water sorts, carries, combines, and releases them. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Deep beneath polar seas, the landscape can be especially unusual. Ice above blocks much of the surface light. Cold water sinks and spreads along the bottom. In some places, Brine released during sea ice formation descends in narrow streams. The brine is colder and saltier than the surrounding water. It can freeze seawater around it, forming a hollow tube of ice. These structures are sometimes called brinicles. They extend downward from the underside of sea ice. The process is rare and depends on very cold conditions. A delicate icy finger grows slowly into the water. Beneath it, the seafloor may be covered with starfish, sponges, and soft sediment. The scene appears otherworldly, yet it follows simple physical rules. Cold, salt density, and moving water create the structure. The polar deep sea also receives food from life near the ice. Algae grow within and beneath sea ice. When the ice melts, some of this material sinks. It feeds animals living far below. The ice is not only a barrier, it is also a habitat and a source of energy. Changes in sea ice can therefore affect deep ecosystems. What happens at the frozen surface eventually reaches the bottom. In Antarctica, the continental shelf lies unusually deep. The weight of the ice has pressed the crust downward over time. Cold waters flow across this shelf and descend into the global ocean. These waters help ventilate the deepest basins. They carry oxygen into places far from the poles. The Antarctic seafloor supports animals adapted to stable cold. Some grow to surprisingly large sizes. This pattern is sometimes called polar gigantism. Certain sea spiders, sponges, and amphipods become larger than related species elsewhere. The reasons are still being studied. Cold water contains more dissolved oxygen. Slow metabolism and long lifespans may also contribute. Large size develops in a world without warmth or sunlight. The animals are not hurried. They grow slowly within steady conditions. Antarctic sponges can form broad communities beneath the ice. Some appear like pale vases or branching structures. Fish with special proteins survive in water near its freezing point. These proteins help prevent ice crystals from growing inside their bodies. The adaptation is known as anti-freeze protein. It allows life to remain active in water, colder than ordinary body fluids would tolerate. Evolution has solved the problem through chemistry. A small molecule can make an entire habitat possible. In the Arctic, similar adaptations appear in different species. The two polar oceans are separated by great distances, yet both demand solutions to cold, darkness, and seasonal ice. Life answers in related but not identical ways. The deep ocean repeats themes while creating local variation. Cold appears everywhere. Pressure appears everywhere, but each basin develops its own communities. An Atlantic trench is not the same as a Pacific trench. A vent field near one ridge differs from another thousands of kilometers away. The chemistry, currents, age, and geology all matter. The deep ocean is connected, but not uniform. It is a collection of quiet worlds within one larger world. If your thoughts are drifting, you can let them go farther. The story will remain here, moving slowly beneath you. Another hidden feature of the deep sea is the presence of underwater waterfalls. These are not waterfalls in the ordinary sense. They form when dense water flows downward beneath lighter water. The difference may come from temperature, salinity, or suspended sediment. In some regions, cold water spills over underwater ridges. It descends along the seafloor like a slow, invisible cascade. One of the largest known examples occurs beneath the Denmark Strait. Cold water from northern seas flows southward and sinks beneath warmer Atlantic water. The descent is far greater than any waterfall on land, yet there is no visible curtain of water. Only density separates the moving layers. The waterfall exists through motion rather than appearance. In the Mediterranean, very salty water flows into the Atlantic through the Strait of Gibraltar. Because it is dense, it sinks and spreads at intermediate depths. Its chemical signature can be traced far from the entrance. A narrow gateway influences water across a large ocean. Similar overflows occur in many places. Ridges, straits, and basins guide dense water downward. These flows help build global circulation. They also transport oxygen and nutrients. The deep ocean is shaped by invisible rivers. Some move along the bottom. Others travel within the middle depths. They rarely mix completely with the water around them. Their boundaries blur slowly. An instrument passing through may detect a sudden change in salinity. That change marks the edge of another water mass. To human eyes, the water looks the same. To a sensor, it is a new region. The deep sea contains borders without walls. Animals may respond to them. A species may remain within one temperature range. Plankton may gather where two water masses meet. Nutrients can concentrate along these boundaries. An invisible edge can become a living corridor. Fronts and layers organize the open ocean. They create structure where no solid landscape exists. In deep water, geography can be made entirely from chemistry. The seafloor creates another kind of structure through sediment waves. Strong currents can shape mud into broad ripples. Some waves are many meters high. They may resemble desert dunes, though they form beneath kilometers of water. Sediment moves slowly across their surfaces. The patterns record the direction and strength of currents. Underwater dunes can also form from sand near continental slopes. Their shapes change as water flows over them. A landscape that appears still may be migrating, grain by grain. The ocean floor is full of quiet motion. Mudslides, sand rolls. Fine particles lift and settle. Burrowing animals disturb the surface. Minerals form within the sediment. Nothing remains exactly where it began. There's no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. In some deep basins, the water contains very little oxygen. These places can preserve organic material unusually well. Without many animals to disturb the bottom, sediments remain finely layered. Each shear may create a visible band. The layers can resemble pages in a dark book. They record changes in plankton, dust, and climate. Low oxygen basins also support specialized microbes. Some use sulfur compounds instead of oxygen. Their activity can turn parts of the water cloudy or dark. The chemistry may seem harsh to surface life, yet it creates opportunities for other organisms. Microbial communities form wherever energy can be found. Even extreme environments are rarely completely empty. The Black Sea contains one of the largest oxygen-free deep-water regions. Its upper waters contain oxygen. Deeper layers contain hydrogen sulfide. The boundary between them supports intense microbial activity. Ancient wooden shipwrecks can be preserved unusually well in the low oxygen depths. Organisms that normally destroy wood are less active there. Human objects become part of deep-sea history. A ship that crossed the surface centuries ago may now rest quietly below. Its shape remains within darkness. Sediment gathers around it. Microbes slowly alter its materials. Fish may pass through openings. The wreck becomes a new habitat. Artificial structures often attract deep-sea life. A fallen container, cable, or ship creates hard surfaces on soft sediment. Sponges and corals may attach. Crustaceans shelter inside. The object begins changing from debris into habitat. This does not remove the environmental harm it may cause, but it shows how quickly life explores new structure. The deep ocean accepts almost anything into its landscape. Over time, human materials become geological traces. Glass may remain for centuries. Metal rusts and dissolves. Plastic breaks into smaller pieces without fully disappearing. Future sediments may contain a clear record of human activity. Even the deepest trenches now hold signs of the surface world. Researchers have found synthetic fibers in deep-sea animals. Microplastics occur in sediments far from land. Chemical pollutants appear in isolated ecosystems. Distance no longer guarantees protection. The ocean connects everything eventually. This knowledge can feel heavy, but it also provides direction. Understanding the pathways helps people reduce future harm. Cleaner rivers mean fewer pollutants reaching the sea. Less plastic waste means fewer particles entering deep currents. Quieter ships can protect acoustic habitats. Careful fishing can preserve slow-growing corals. The deep ocean cannot remain untouched by human life, but it can be treated with greater care. Protection begins with recognizing that darkness is not emptiness. The seafloor is not unused space. A trench is not too distant to matter. The deep sea supports climate, chemistry, biodiversity, and the wider ocean. It is part of a living planet. You do not need to solve these problems tonight. You can simply let the thought settle gently. The hidden parts of Earth are still worthy of care. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. One of the quietest deep-sea processes is the formation of new minerals within sediment. Seawater trapped between grains reacts with organic matter and rock. Over time, crystals begin to grow. Some form around shells or bones. Others create hard layers beneath the mud. These reactions can produce phosphates, carbonates, sulfides, and other minerals. A soft sediment may gradually become stone. This is the beginning of sedimentary rock. Pressure increases as new layers accumulate above. Water is squeezed out. Grains become packed together. Minerals cement them in place. The former seafloor becomes part of Earth's crust. Millions of years later, tectonic movement may lift that rock onto land. Mountains can contain sediments that once rested beneath an ancient ocean. Marine fossils are found high above modern sea level. A shell may begin in warm water, sink, become stone, and rise within a mountain. Earth carries the ocean into the sky through geology. The cycle is almost too slow to imagine, yet it is happening now. Sediment settles tonight. Minerals form tonight. Plates move tonight. The changes are tiny, but continuous. The planet never pauses completely. Deep-sea fossils also reveal extinct worlds. Layers of rock contain microorganisms that lived in past oceans. Their shapes and chemistry show how conditions changed. Some species flourished during warm periods. Others spread during colder times. Mass extinctions appear as sudden changes in the fossil record. Afterward, new communities slowly develop. The deep sea has experienced repeated transformation. It is ancient, but not unchanging. Ocean basins themselves have lifetimes. New ones form as continents separate. Old ones' closest crust sinks into trenches. The Atlantic Ocean is still widening in many places. The Pacific is surrounded by zones where seafloor is being consumed. Far in the future, the map of the oceans will look different. Seamounts will move. Trenches will close. Continents will meet. The deep ocean we know is only one moment in a much longer story. This can be comforting. The present does not need to be permanent to be meaningful. A current has value while it moves. A coral has value while it grows. A small light has value during the second it glows. The deep sea is filled with temporary beauty. Then field opens and closes. A whale fall supports life, then disappears. A jelly drifts through a camera beam and is gone. Nothing needs to last forever to belong. Far below, a thin layer of sediment settles over an older one. Current turns around a ridge. Cold water descends beneath warmer water. An octopus guards a cluster of eggs. A larva drifts toward a place it has never seen. The ocean carries each life without explaining the whole journey. Your thoughts can become like that drifting larva, small, light, and carried by something larger. They do not need to know where they are going. They can simply move through quiet water. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Imagine now that the research lights have been turned off. The vehicle remains still. For a moment, nothing is visible. Then a few faint sparks appear. One glows near the sediment. Another flashes higher in the water. A long, transparent shape moves beyond sight. The darkness feels wide, but not empty. It contains distances, currents, lives, and unseen landscapes. The surface is far above. The sky is farther still. Yet the deep ocean is not lonely. Signals move through it. Water masses meet. Larvae travel. Whales call. Microbes exchange energy. Communities gather around warmth. Every part is connected through slow movement. You can rest inside that connection. There is no need to listen closely now. Words may become only rhythm. Rhythm may become only sound. Sound may fade into silence. Far below, the deep sea continues its patient work. It stores the past. It supports the present. It carries the future through dark water. And as the story drifts onward, you may drift with it, gently and without effort. The darkness continues beyond the last faint signal, opening into another wide and quiet stretch of ocean. Here, the water may seem almost motionless, yet even the stillest deep water is slowly carrying heat, minerals, gases, and life. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. There is no need to hold on to every detail. Some deep currents follow pathways shaped by mountains hidden beneath the sea. When water meets a ridge, part of it rises, part of it turns. Part of it passes through narrow gaps between peaks. These movements create turbulence too gentle to see from the surface. The turbulence helps mix deep water. Without mixing, layers of different temperature and chemistry would remain more strongly separated. Mixing carries oxygen downward and nutrients upward. It also redistributes heat across the ocean. Much of this work happens around rough seafloor terrain. Underwater mountains interrupt the flow and create waves within the ocean itself. These waves are called internal waves. Unlike surface waves, they travel along boundaries between layers of different density. They may be hundreds of meters high. Yet a ship above may notice almost nothing. The largest waves on Earth can exist entirely beneath the surface. They rise and fall slowly inside the ocean. When internal waves break, they mix surrounding water. The process resembles waves breaking on a beach, but no shoreline is present. The boundary is made from temperature and salt. A hidden wave collapses within the darkness. Its energy becomes smaller movements. Those movements help keep the ocean connected. The deep sea may appear calm because its motion is spread across enormous scales. A current can be powerful without moving quickly. A wave can be immense without ever reaching the air. The ocean contains many forms of motion that do not resemble familiar waves. There are rotating eddies. There are narrow jets. There are sinking plumes. There are slow pulses caused by tides. The gravitational pull of the moon affects the deep sea as well as the shoreline. Tides move water across underwater ridges and continental slopes. As the flow passes over rough ground, it creates internal waves. In this way, the moon helps stir water kilometers below the surface. A distant body in the night sky influences currents in complete darkness. The connection is quiet and continuous. Moonlight never reaches the abyss. The moon's gravity does. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. the story will keep drifting softly below the surface. Tidal currents also move animals and particles. Some creatures time their activity with these regular changes. They may rise from burrows when the current strengthens. Others extend feeding structures when particles are carried past. Deep sea life can follow rhythms that began far above. The timing may reflect the moon, the seasons, or the arrival of food from the surface. Even without sunlight, the deep ocean is not free from cycles. It receives them indirectly. A tide moves through the water. A current changes direction. A coral opens its delicate branches. A small crustacean leaves the sediment. Later, the current weakens. The animals become still again. The pattern repeats without clocks. Bodies respond to pressure, flow, and chemistry. The ocean itself keeps the time. Some deep-sea animals have internal biological clocks. These clocks may remain synchronized with daily changes above. A migrating animal can rise each evening even when it lives most of the day in darkness. Light sensed at shallower depths may reset the rhythm. Temperature or food may also provide cues. Other animals may follow tidal rather than daily cycles. Mest. Their world is organized by movement instead of brightness. A day in the deep ocean can be measured by the arrival of falling particles. A month may be measured by changing tides. A year may arrive as a distant pulse from a surface bloom. Time becomes visible through events rather than light. On abyssal plains, seasonal food pulses can create brief periods of abundance. Fresh organic matter settles across the sediment. Sea cucumbers and other animals gather where it lands. Some species reproduce soon after these pulses. Their young begin life when more food is available. A season at the surface becomes an opportunity far below. The delay may be weeks or months. The deep ocean receives the calendar slowly. Marine snow is not evenly distributed. Some areas receive more because surface waters above are highly productive. Other regions lie beneath ocean deserts where little plant life grows. The seafloor reflects these differences. Below productive waters, sediments may contain more organic carbon. Below clear, nutrient-poor waters, food can be extremely limited. Animals there may live even more slowly. The color of the sediment may change. The abundance of life may change. The distance from land also matters. Near continents, rivers and winds provide additional material. Far from land, the deep sea depends more heavily on what grows above it. Every abyssal plain is connected to the sky directly overhead. A desert atmosphere may deliver dust. A polar sea may deliver algae from melting ice. A coastal region may deliver wood and sediment. The seafloor receives the character of the world above. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Some particles falling into the deep sea contain iron. Iron is essential for microscopic plant life near the surface. In certain parts of the ocean, there's too little available iron for large blooms to develop. Dust from continents can supply it. Volcanic ash can also carry iron into seawater. A storm over a desert may eventually influence life in a distant ocean basin. Wind lifts mineral grains. They cross the atmosphere. They settle onto the sea. Some dissolve and become available to tiny plants. Those plants absorb carbon dioxide and grow. Later, part of their material sinks. The journey continues into darkness. The deep ocean therefore receives energy shaped by deserts, volcanoes, forests, and ice. Earth's systems overlap continuously. The boundary between land and sea is less complete than it appears. The ocean also sends material back to the atmosphere. Sea spray carries salts and organic particles into the air. Marine organisms produce gases that influence cloud formation. Warm water releases heat. cold water absorbs it. The planet exchanges matter and energy through the ocean surface. Below that surface, the deep sea stores much of what enters. Some heat is carried downward by mixing. Some carbon sinks inside particles. Some gases dissolve under pressure. The deep ocean acts as both memory and reservoir. Its response is slow because its volume is immense. A change may take decades to spread through the upper ocean. It may take centuries to reach the deepest basins. This delay can make the deep sea seem protected, but it also means that changes can remain for a long time once they arrive. The ocean's long memory is both stabilizing and fragile. Cold, deep water can hold more dissolved carbon dioxide than warm water. When surface water cools near the poles, it absorbs gases and sinks. This transports carbon into the interior ocean. Some returns when deep water rises again. Some becomes part of shells or sediment. The balance changes over time. During colder climatic periods, ocean circulation and carbon storage may differ from warmer periods. Scientists study past sediments to understand these shifts. Tiny fossil shells preserve chemical ratios connected to temperature and ice volume. Carbon isotopes reveal changes in the global carbon cycle. Pollen carried offshore hints at vegetation on nearby continents. A deep sea core becomes a conversation between ocean, atmosphere, and land. Each layer holds several stories at once. If your thoughts are becoming softer, you can let the stories blend together. There is no need to separate one current from another. Far beneath the surface, carbon also becomes stored inside rocks. Marine organisms build shells from dissolved minerals. When those shells sink and are buried, their carbon may remain for millions of years. Tectonic movement can eventually carry the sediment into a subduction zone. There, some material enters the mantle. Volcanoes may later return part of the carbon to the atmosphere. This geological carbon cycle moves far more slowly than biological cycles. A molecule can travel from air to ocean, from shell to sediment, and from sediment into rock. Millions of years later, it may return through volcanic gas. The deep ocean connects living time with geological time. It receives particles from today and turns them into tomorrow's stone. Most sinking material does not become rock. Microbes and animals recycle much of it first. As organic matter descends, it is gradually broken down. This releases nutrients back into the water. The deeper the particle travels, the less energy usually remains within it. By the time marine snow reaches the abyss, much has already been consumed. What remains is valuable. A single fresh fragment can attract many small animals. They gather briefly. The fragment disappears. Then the community spreads out again. Food falls irregularly, like quiet weather from above. Occasionally, large events deliver more. A storm may cause coastal sediment to slide. A bloom may produce an unusually heavy snowfall of organic matter. A large animal may sink. These events create temporary abundance. The deep sea responds quickly compared with its usual pace. Animals arrive from the surrounding area. Microbial activity increases. Oxygen may decrease within the sediment. Over time, the extra material is transformed. The site returns gradually to ordinary conditions. The deep ocean can be calm without being unresponsive. It notices every arrival. It simply answers slowly. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. You can listen, or let the words become part of the current. One of the most delicate deep-sea habitats is formed by coral gardens. These corals do not build bright tropical reefs. They grow in cold, dark water. Some attach to steep canyon walls. Others live on seamounts where currents bring food. Their polyps extend small tentacles into the water. They capture drifting particles and tiny animals. Without sunlight, they depend entirely on what the current carries. A coral branch may grow only a few millimeters each year. Large colonies can therefore be very old. Their shapes reflect the flow of water. Branches spread where food arrives most reliably. Some grow like fans facing the current. Others form bushes, cups, or long, flexible webs. Under research lights, the colors can be surprising. Red, orange, white, and gold appear in a place without natural color. In darkness, these shades are invisible. The pigments may have functions unrelated to appearance. Humans see beauty that the coral itself may never experience in the same way. The structure still matters. Tiny animals shelter between the branches. Fish rest nearby. Crustaceans climb across the surface. Egg cases attached to the coral. A single colony creates three-dimensional habitat above the mud. In the deep sea, hard structure is often rare. A coral garden can become an island of complexity. Glass sponges create similar habitats. Their skeletons are formed from silica. Some grow in tangled fields. When they die, their skeletal remains remain on the seafloor. New sponges settle among them. Over time, living and dead structures build broad sponge grounds. These grounds filter large volumes of water. They provide surfaces and shelter. They also influence nutrient cycling. A sponge may look still, but water constantly passes through its body. Specialized cells create currents. Tiny food particles are removed. Filtered water returns to the ocean. The animal lives by moving the sea through itself. Some sponges contain communities of microbes. These microbes help process nutrients and chemical compounds. The sponge and its internal life function together. Like vent animals, they are not entirely solitary organisms. They are habitats within habitats. The deep ocean contains many nested worlds. A seamount supports a coral garden. The coral supports crustaceans. The crustaceans carry microbes. The microbes transform molecules. Each scale contains another community. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Deep-sea corals can also record the history of water masses. As they grow, they absorb elements from the surrounding sea. The ratios of these elements can reveal temperature and nutrient conditions. Some corals preserve traces of carbon from past centuries. Scientists use them to study changes in deep circulation. A coral living silently on a seamount becomes an instrument across time. It does not know it is recording history. It simply builds its skeleton, layer after layer. The ocean enters its body. Later, a small sample may reveal where the water came from. This kind of knowledge depends on slow growth. The very feature that makes deep corals vulnerable also makes them valuable archives. Their lives bridge biology and climate. Other animals record time in different ways. Fish earstones, called otoliths, grow in layers. Shells add bands. Shark vertebrae may contain growth marks. Chemical techniques help estimate age when visible layers are unclear. A deep-sea animal can carry a private calendar inside its body. The calendar may show years of slow growth. It may reveal changes in diet or migration. An otolith can preserve chemical signatures from different water masses. A fish moving between depths leaves traces in stone. The body becomes a map of its journey. Some animals travel through layers with different temperatures every day. Others remain near the same seafloor feature for their entire lives. Both strategies can succeed. Movement brings access to changing resources. Staying reduces energy costs. The deep sea allows many ways to balance risk and energy. A fish that migrates upward must swim farther. but food may be more plentiful. A fish that remains deep saves energy, but it must wait for food to arrive. Each body reflects a different solution. No solution is perfect. Evolution works with the conditions available. This creates the strange and gentle variety of deep-sea life. Large mouths, tiny eyes, enormous eyes, transparent skin, black skin, long fins, soft bones, glowing organs. Each feature tells part of an environmental story. The darkness shapes vision, pressure shapes tissues, scarcity shapes metabolism, currents shape movement. The deep sea writes itself into every animal. Some species are found across several oceans. Others live only around a single trench or vent system. Geographical isolation can create new species. A ridge may act as a barrier. A current may prevent larvae from crossing. Two populations become separated. Over long periods, they change in different ways. The ocean seems open, yet its hidden geography divides life. Depth itself can be a barrier. A species living at 2,000 meters may not survive at 4,000. Pressure, temperature, and food change gradually with depth. Small differences accumulate. A slope can therefore contain several communities stacked one above another. A research vehicle descending a canyon may pass through biological zones. Certain corals disappear. Different sponges appear. Fish shapes change. The transition may be slow, but it is real. The deep sea has altitude in reverse. On land, climbing a mountain changes the environment. In the ocean, descending a slope does the same. Pressure rises instead of falling. Light disappears instead of becoming brighter. Temperature often decreases. The journey downward crosses hidden climates. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will continue through each quiet layer. On continental slopes, deep currents can create oxygen-rich habitats. Canyons may funnel organic material downward. Rocky walls provide hard surfaces for corals. The result can be greater abundance than on nearby plains. Submarine canyons connect shallow and deep environments. They act as corridors for sediment, water, and animals. Some whales feed near canyon edges. Fish gather where currents rise. Plankton can become concentrated. The canyon influences life from the seafloor to the surface. A shape hidden beneath water can affect birds flying above. Seabirds may gather where nutrients rise. Fishing communities may depend on species supported by deep topography. The unseen landscape influences human life without ever appearing above the waves. Seamounts can have similar effects. Currents moving around them create zones of mixing. These zones support plankton. Larger animals may follow. Tuna, sharks, whales, and seabirds can gather above an underwater mountain. The mountain itself remains hidden. Only the life around it reveals its presence. Before detailed maps, sailors sometimes noticed unusual abundance in particular regions. They may not have known that a seamount lay below. The deep sea was shaping the surface from darkness. This relationship also appears around upwelling zones. Winds move surface water away from a coast. Deep water rises to replace it. The rising water carries nutrients. Microscopic plants grow. Food webs become productive. Some of the richest fisheries occur in these regions. The energy begins with nutrients stored below sunlight. The deep ocean returns them to the surface. What sinks does not remain lost forever. The ocean is a cycle of descent and return. Water sinks near one region and rises in another. Nutrients fall inside particles and rise inside currents. Animals descend at dawn and return at night. The movement repeats at many scales. The deep sea is not simply the bottom of a system. It is an active middle passage through which the planet circulates. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Far from productive coasts, the center of an ocean basin may be extremely clear. Very little nutrient reaches the surface. Microscopic plant growth remains low. The water appears intensely blue because few particles scatter other colors. Below these ocean deserts, the deep sea floor receives little food. Animals may be sparse. Sediments accumulate slowly. Red clay can cover wide areas. The red color comes partly from iron minerals. Manganese nodules may lie across the surface. Shark teeth and tiny cosmic particles can become preserved there. Some sediments grow so slowly that material from space forms a measurable part. Micrometeorites fall through the atmosphere and settle on the sea. Most are extremely small. They drift downward through kilometers of water. Eventually they join Earth's sediment. The abyssal plain receives dust from deserts and dust from space. Both become part of the same quiet layer. This is another way the deep ocean connects distant worlds. Material from asteroids can rest beside microscopic shells. Volcanic ash can lie beside ancient fish teeth. The sea floor gathers fragments without separating their origins. Over time, all become part of Earth. In some regions, the accumulation rate is only a few millimeters across thousands of years. A footprint there can outlast many human generations. A nodule can remain exposed for millions of years. The surface seems almost outside ordinary time, yet microbes still live within it. Tiny animals still move through it. The slowest places are not completely still. Even red clay contains life. Cells survive with extremely little energy. They may depend on organic matter deposited long ago. Their activity can be difficult to detect. Scientists measure faint chemical changes. They examine genetic material. They count cells beneath microscopes. The results reveal a biosphere operating near the lower limits of energy. Life there may spend more energy repairing itself than growing. A cell can remain alive without multiplying often. The difference between active life and long waiting becomes difficult to define. The deep ocean challenges simple categories. An organism can be alive at a pace almost indistinguishable from geology. It can continue through centuries of darkness. This idea does not need to feel strange. It can feel restful. Life does not always need visible progress. Sometimes continuing quietly is enough. You can let that thought pass without holding it. Far below, a microbe remains within a grain of sediment. Coral polyp waits for the current to bring food. A fish hovers beside a rock. A mineral crystal grows by an amount too small to see. The ocean is full of patient existence. The surface world values speed. The deep sea offers another rhythm: slow movement, slow growth, slow change, long silence between events, and still, the system remains complete. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. You can follow it or allow it to fade. Imagine a vehicle moving gently above an abyssal plain. Its lights form a pale path across the sediment. The camera sees a sea cucumber, then a small sponge, then an animal trail leading beyond the beam. The vehicle travels for several minutes without another visible creature. The silence does not mean the region is empty. Much of its life is hidden in the mud. Some is too small to see. Some moved away before the light arrived. Some lives beyond the narrow path. The vehicle turns slightly. A cluster of nodules appears. A translucent animal drifts through the upper edge of the image. Its body catches the light for only a moment. Then it returns to darkness. Every deep-sea dive is made from brief scenes like this. Long descent. Whoa! A narrow view. A few observations. A slow return to the surface. The ocean beyond the camera remains immeasurably larger. Scientists combine these small scenes with sonar, samples, and models. They estimate what exists between the tracks. Maps become more detailed. Species lists become longer. But uncertainty remains. The deep sea never becomes fully contained within data. There is always more water beyond the instruments, more sediment beneath the cores, more life beyond the lights. The unknown is not a failure. It is simply part of studying a vast world. You can allow some things to remain unknown tonight. They do not need to be completed. They can rest beyond the edge of thought, like a seamount outside the map, like a creature beyond the beam, like a current moving through darkness without a name. Your breathing can remain easy. Your body can go heavier. The details can drift farther apart, far below. The internal waves continue rising and falling. Tides move across the ridges. Particles settle through ancient water. A coral garden opens into the current, and the deep ocean carries its hidden rhythms onward, quietly and without end. The deep ocean continues beyond the last quiet ridge, beyond the last coral garden, and beyond the fading research lights. Its darkness is not empty. It is filled with moving water, distant sounds, patient life, and landscapes older than memory. You do not need to follow every current now. You do not need to remember every creature, trench, or hidden mountain. The ocean can carry the details for you. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Far beneath the surface, cold water follows ancient pathways around the planet. It passes through narrow gaps between underwater mountains. It moves along continental slopes and across broad abyssal plains. Some of this water has not touched the atmosphere for hundreds of years. It carries oxygen from distant polar seas. It carries carbon from long-vanished seasons. It carries traces of places separated by entire oceans. Nothing in this journey needs to hurry. The current may travel only a short distance each day. Yet over centuries, it crosses the world. Above it, marine snow continues falling through the darkness. Tiny shells descend. Fragments of plants drift downward. Soft particles gather together and slowly become heavier. Some are collected by drifting animals. Some are transformed by microbes. Some reach the sediment and become part of the ocean floor. The gentle snowfall never completely ends. It connects the bright surface with the deepest plain. Sunlight becomes plant life. Plant life becomes a particle. The particle sinks into darkness, and somewhere below, it supports a small and quiet life. A sea cucumber moves slowly across the sediment. Its path creates a faint line in the soft mud. A brittle star extends delicate arms into the current. A sponge draws seawater through its body. A coral polyp waits for a passing fragment of food. Each life continues at its own pace. None of them knows the full shape of the ocean. None of them needs to. They respond only to the water immediately around them. Current arrives. A particle falls. The temperature remains steady. The darkness continues. Perhaps rest can be simple in the same way. You do not need to understand the entire day. You do not need to arrange every thought before sleep. You can remain with one quiet breath, then another. Everything else can drift beyond the light. If your eyes feel heavy, you can let them close. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. Near a distant mid-ocean ridge, warm mineral water rises through the seafloor. It passes through an old chimney built from countless layers of minerals. The warm flow meets cold water. Tiny crystals appear and begin settling around the opening. Microbes use the chemicals carried from the rock below. Tube-worms remain near the warmth. Small animals move across the chimney walls. A few meters away, the water is cold again. The vent is a small island of energy within a vast dark sea. It may remain active for years. Then the underground pathways may shift. The flow may weaken. The chimney may become silent. The animals will gradually move or disappear. The mineral tower will remain behind. Later, sponges or corals may settle upon it. One community gives way to another. The deep ocean is always changing. Even when the change is too slow to notice, nothing remains exactly the same. Yet nothing is truly wasted. Warm water becomes cold. Living tissue becomes sediment. A skeleton becomes shelter. A shell becomes stone. Energy moves from one body to another. The ocean continues by transforming everything it receives. A whale may travel for decades across the surface waters. It may follow migrations learned from older members of its group. It may cross warm seas and cold seas. It may communicate through low calls that travel beyond sight. At the end of its life, it may sink into the deep ocean. There, its body begins another long chapter. For years, it supports animals on the seafloor. Later, microbes use the energy stored inside its bones. Eventually, the skeleton becomes part of the sediment. The life that once moved beneath sunlight becomes part of the dark ocean floor. The deep sea does not separate endings from beginnings. One event becomes the foundation for another. A fallen tree from a distant forest can make a similar journey. It travels down a river. It drifts across coastal water. It becomes heavy and sinks. At the bottom, small animals enter the wood. Microbes begin breaking it down. The tree becomes food and shelter, far from the land where it grew. A forest and an abyssal plain become connected. Rain, rivers, currents, and gravity complete the journey. The planet is full of connections that no single observer can see. Dust leaves the desert and nourishes the ocean. Cold water sinks near ice and carries oxygen toward the equator. A volcanic ridge changes the chemistry of seawater. A tiny glowing animal moves carbon through the darkness. Each process seems separate when viewed closely. Together, they become the breathing rhythm of Earth. The ocean absorbs heat and releases it slowly. It stores carbon. It carries nutrients. It influences clouds, rain, storms, and seasons. The deepest water helps shape the world above. The surface may appear to be the active part of the ocean. There are waves, winds, boats, and changing skies, but below, the slower layers perform their own essential work. The quietest parts of the planet can still be powerful. They do not need to be loud to matter. There is no need to hold on to every detail. You can let the ocean move quietly in the background. Far inside a trench, the pressure is immense, yet small animals move across the sediment. Microbes live between mineral grains. Organic particles gather in the deepest valley. The water above reaches upward for nearly 11 kilometers. No sunlight enters. No storm disturbs the bottom directly. The trench remains within its own steady conditions. A research vehicle may visit for several hours. Its lights reveal a small circle of mud. An amphipod crosses the frame. A pale fish moves near the bottom. A few rocks rest where they have rested for ages. Then the vehicle begins rising. Its light disappears into the water above. The trench returns to darkness. Nothing has changed because humans are no longer watching. Life continues without observation. This may be one of the gentlest lessons of the deep sea. The world does not depend on our attention to remain complete. Unknown animals live full lives. Unmapped mountains shape currents. Unheard signals travel through the water. Unseen microbes transform the chemistry of the planet. Mystery is not an absence. It is simply life continuing beyond the edge of our knowledge, somewhere in the midnight zone. A translucent animal produces a brief blue light. The signal travels through the surrounding water. Perhaps another animal sees it. Perhaps it fades without response. For one moment, the darkness contains a small star. Then the star is gone. Another appears far away. The deep ocean creates its own constellations. They do not remain fixed in the sky. They move with currents and living bodies. Some flash only once. Some glow steadily. Some create waves of light along their edges. There may be thousands of these signals in the water tonight. No one at the surface will see most of them. Their beauty does not require an audience. A giant squid may pass through deep water beyond the reach of any camera. Its large eyes gather faint traces of light. Its arms move gently through the current. It is not a monster from an old story. It is simply an animal living in the environment that shaped it. A Dumbo octopus may glide above the seafloor. Its fins move slowly. Its webbed arms open and close. A vampire squid may collect drifting particles with long filaments. A siphonophore may extend through the water like a transparent ribbon. Each unfamiliar form is a quiet answer to the same questions. How can life move in darkness? How can it find energy? How can it sense the world? How can it continue under pressure? There are many answers. Some use light. Some use sound. Some wait, some drift. Some live with bacteria. Some grow slowly for centuries. The deep ocean does not offer one way of surviving. It contains countless patient solutions. You do not need to imagine every shape clearly. They can remain soft and indistinct. A pale movement beyond the light. A line of blue sparks. Shadow passing through cold water. Then quiet again. The story can begin fading now. The words can become less important. You may notice only their rhythm. You may lose the beginning of one sentence before it reaches the end. That is perfectly all right. The ocean does not need you to stay awake. It will continue its slow movements through the night. Currents will pass around seamounts. Marine snow will settle. Whales will call across distant basins. Corals will open into the water. Microbes will continue their invisible chemistry. The deep ocean will keep turning beneath the sleeping world. Above it, waves may move beneath moonlight. The shore may receive each wave and release it again. Clouds may cross the sky. Stars may disappear behind them. A light wind may travel over the surface. None of this reaches the abyss as sudden movement. By the time the energy travels downward, it becomes softened and slow. The deep sea receives the world gently. You can allow the night to receive you in the same way. Nothing needs to be pushed away. Thoughts can settle at their own pace. Some may remain near the surface. Others may sink into quieter layers. Each one can become less distinct as it moves downward. A worry may lose its sharp edges. A memory may become only a faint shape. A plan for tomorrow can wait beyond the darkness. There will be time for the surface again. For now, you can remain here. Cold water moves steadily through the deepest basin. A mineral nodule rests within the mud. Its layers have grown across millions of years. Nearby, a small sponge filters the current. The sponge may live for centuries. Neither needs to measure the passing hours. The ocean holds time in layers rather than clocks. A coral adds a narrow band. Sediment covers an ancient shell. New crust cools beside a ridge. An island slowly sinks and becomes a seamount. The changes are real, though almost impossible to watch. The deep sea reminds us that progress can be quiet. A great distance can be crossed through small movements. A landscape can be built grain by grain. A life can be complete without speed. There is nowhere you need to arrive before sleep. There is nothing left to complete in this story. The unexplored trenches can remain unexplored. The unnamed animals can remain unnamed. The distant currents can continue without a map. The mystery does not need to be solved tonight. You can let it remain gentle and open. The story will keep drifting softly below the surface. You can allow yourself to drift away from it. Imagine the last research light growing smaller in the distance. It moves upward through the dark water. At first, it is a bright circle. Then it becomes a pale point. Soon, it is only a faint glow. Finally, it disappears. The ocean is dark again, but the darkness is calm. It holds mountains, plains, canyons, vents, and quiet gardens of coral. It holds sleeping sharks and drifting jellies. It holds ancient water and newly formed rock. It holds the remains of forests, whales, shells, and stars. Everything rests within the same deep world. Far above, the vehicle returns toward the surface. But you do not need to follow it. You can remain in the stillness for a little longer. There is no pressure here to think. No need to answer. No need to remember where the journey began. Only the soft sense of water moving in the distance. Only the slow fall of particles. Only darkness, wide and gentle. Your breathing can become quieter. Your body can feel heavier. The place beneath you can hold your weight. The night can continue without your attention. If sleep has already begun to reach you, let it come naturally. You do not need to move toward it. You can simply stop moving away. The ocean has carried us through twilight water and midnight depths, past glowing animals and ancient mountains, past hydrothermal vents, whale falls, trenches, and quiet plains. Now it can carry the story beyond words. The sentences can dissolve into current. The current can dissolve into silence. And the silence can remain. Far below the final wave, the deep ocean continues, cold, dark, living, patient, peaceful. It asks nothing from you. It holds no alarm. It keeps no urgent time. It simply moves around the planet, slowly and quietly. You can rest now. The ocean will keep drifting in the background, and while the deepest water continues its long journey through the earth, you can gently begin your own journey into sleep.